Malfurion versus Urel.
Light, guide my
Live.
I must protect the wild.
Somehow I feel like I always miss actually going live, and then I looked at my last live stream and I'm just kind of sitting there like looking around. Didn't know if I was live or not, but typically as soon as you click the button, you go live. Interesting story here. I actually scheduled this stream ahead of time, and I thought that I've been live for like the last 5 minutes. So I had like this whole beautiful opening monologue, jokes, funny, absolutely killing it. And I wasn't live because apparently when you schedule a stream on YouTube, you have to hit go live on YouTube and not just in the streaming software. Whereas if it's not scheduled, you just go live in the software and then you're live on YouTube. So making myself look like a fool. I have no idea why I told you that, but maybe you'll find that a little bit funny. So I'm going to have to likely go back and repeat myself. But I went through my opening monologue, and so, I should be well prepared to be able to go over it again. But I was pretty much just taking a look at some decks, recapping my current Legend climb. You can see right now we're Diamond 4. I think I've only played like one game of Hearthstone since my last live stream. And so... basically not a whole lot going on as far as that kind of thing goes. I think we actually just play the Astalor here. You kind of want to get this down while you have the mana to get it down. Plus it challenges the board a little bit, so I'm just going to play it out rather than hero power and knock off this Divine Shield. Pretty favorable hand here with the Seedsman as well as the Nourish in hand, so we should be able to ramp up pretty well. I'm almost positive that we beat Pure Paladin, but I guess we're going to find out pretty early.
initializing descent.
Hey Kurt, greetings from Germany. So glad you could join me. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. And I hope you're doing well.
The light dims.
What's the weather like in Germany right now? I feel like it's in the middle of winter. I want to complete the quest here. I think I want to complete step 1 of the quest. I think I've heard that Europe's been like dry and warm this year. Other option would just be hero power. Am I going to need this for a defensive play later? I kind of don't think so. So we're going to have ramp into other stuff. This looks a little bit weird, but I mean, we're still gaining 5 armor, and we're moving to the second part of the quest, which is going to be, once we complete it, another 5 armor plus drawing a card. That's what I was really looking at there. Rainy and cold. What's considered cold in Germany?
The light dims.
Please convert to freedom units. Please convert to freedom units. And we're just taking a ton of damage here. This is a little bit unfortunate. Our opponent's got a really good start, and this is going to wreck us somewhat. I'd actually rather have like a Scale of Onyxia here than the Underking. So it looks like we're actually getting run over in our first game by aggro druid. Yeah, this is a really good start. I think we're actually just losing this game right off the bat. I need a converter. Oh, Kurt, I'm sorry to do that to you. We're actually just almost dead here. That's crazy. So we have to innervate out the Underking. And even then, this isn't like super great because there's no guarantee that we can actually kill this off next turn. We basically have to top deck Scale of Onyxia. Can you drop the code of the deck? I should be able to. Let me see if I can find it. I think I'm also going to be dropping a loss. But this is the code of the deck that I'm playing currently, and it might need to be modified just a little bit. And again, it looks like we're just taking the L here. Yeah, we're actually just dead. Nothing to do here but concede. So we'll see how it goes. If people are playing a lot of Pure Paladin and this is a bad matchup, then I'll likely switch decks a little bit. You kind of have to play the deck that's going to be performing well when you're trying to climb the ladder. I think we should be okay, though. I mean, our opponent had a good start, but probably probably an average start for that deck. I mean, typically they're playing minions every turn, so we needed like Rake, and we needed Park Panther, things like that to be able to fight for the board. Rogue's a totally... Hearthstone, man, this game absolutely trolls me. Like, I could have used these cards last game, and I can't tell you how many times this happens. How many times do you need a card in game 1? You never see them, and then in game 2, they're in your opening hand in the mulligan when you don't even want them. Like, I don't even think we need it against Rogue. I'd rather have the ramp, because I feel like this is probably like Jackpot Rogue. Yeah, we do hit the ramp here, so again, this is a good hand. We can do this on, coin this on 3, into Nourish on 4. That's going to be a really good start for us. Everything lower than 40 degrees is considered cold here. Okay. So that's, for comparison, here this morning, it wasn't cold, but we were at 36 Fahrenheit, which I think is probably, I don't know, without an actual converter, it's got to be, you know, somewhere close to like 1 or 2 Celsius. Just going to hero power here, nothing really else to do, and then we're going to coin Seedsman into Nourish exactly like the game plan is. I guess this could still be Miracle Rogue, in which case Miracle Rogue has to be favored because they're going to drop like big minions and a big Draco weapon, which really, it's going to be faster than our deck is able to win, plus it kind of nullifies the other things that we want to be doing. Oh, it's Death Rattle. Okay. So that does change things just a little bit. So we've already got one piece of the combo here. I think it's going to depend on how quickly they're able to put together a board to be able to kill us. And it's pretty important whether or not they hit Death Rattle minions. They do hit this one. So, the Trickster, the fact that they hit a Trickster is good for us, and then this is bad for us, but it's not so bad that I feel like we just lose the game right off the bat. We hit a Nubricon here as well. Question is, do we want to save the Rake? Because we're going to Nourish, and then we could just, like, Rake, and then attack into this, but I almost think we want to save it to try to get more attack, and maybe be able to deal with this guy. Let's take a trade here. I think I am going to save the Rake. So I'm going to hero power, and I definitely want to get my minion off the board, and then I'm just going to swing face here. Our opponent's going to have to remove this, which they should be able to, but that's going to give them 2 5/8 because of this. If they can't remove it, then that's going to be good for us, but we definitely don't want to be the one to kill it. Hey, Cax, lots of live stream lately. Gotta love it. Greetings, by the way. Greetings to you as well. Rough start, man, to this live stream. I thought I was live for 5 minutes, and I wasn't. I spent 5 minutes talking, man. I was killing it. Killing it! And absolutely nobody saw it. I do think maybe my wife might have overheard it, though. She's not too far away here. So again, this is an interesting spot here. I don't want to kill any of their Death Rattle minions. Or actually, now that, okay, so I miscounted the turns. So the graveyard has already expired, so maybe I do want to remove their Death Rattle minions simply because I don't want them to be able to play the second one to get double Death Rattles. So I'll be okay, I guess, like killing off some of this stuff. I'm going to draw first. I'd like to hit some of my removal. Actually hit double Underking. And capture Cold Tooth Mine. So Cold Tooth, there's no guarantee as far as what we're actually going to draw. And we're only Astalor away from being able to have the combo here. So best way to approach this turn, I think, is we just remove these guys. If I go Pounce, yeah, I think that's going to be fine. I'm actually going to save the Pounce here. So I'm going to rake this guy, I'm going to swing here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get this ramp down. Draw last is probably bad. going to chalk that up to maybe doing just a little bit too much talking and not paying attention to what I'm actually doing in Hearthstone here. One important note about this deck is to get the combo, you actually only need 11 mana, so you don't even have to have Guff. If you just have an Innervate, you can go Innervate, Bran, Anubricon, and then play the 3 Astalor cards, and you'll be able to get that big damage spread. One of the concerns here is how much health they have on the board to be able to soak up the Astalor shots. We hit the Guff, so we can actually go like Guff. We only have one Innervate though. I feel like I need to get down an Underking. But we can go Nourish for mana and play an Underking. The question is, like, do we even need that mana? Is it even good to do that? Because really, we just want to draw cards. If we hit Astalor, we win the game. So I think I'm actually going to start by... Might actually just want to draw the Scale of Onyxia, though, because there's no guarantee that we can hit an aquatic form to be able to check the bottom of our deck. I'm going to go ahead and get a Scale in hand here. It's guaranteed. And then we're going to lay down an Underking, and then we're going to trade. It takes a lot of health off the board, it takes damage off the board, and then we're going to pass the turn back. Holding on to the Pounce, no real reason to use it here. And kind of hate to see this thing come down because it can generate a lot of additional minions if our opponent's able to get the Snowfall Graveyard. It feels like they're playing a really old version of this deck, though. But just a lot of minions that are going to be on the board, which is bad news for us, because we really just want to be drawing cards. Two mana copy of something else in the deck. Just need to draw cards. They have 17. I do think this deck has just a little bit of reach. You can draw the lowest cost card. That doesn't seem great. But actually just... We're at 26, so we should be safe. So I'm going to Innervate, then I'm going to Nourish for cards. And then I'm going to Pounce, and I actually want to Swing Face here. Again, I don't want to remove their minions that are on the board, because there could be something a lot more nasty if they hit like a Neptulon here. So unfortunately, Astalor is in the bottom 9 this game. And we're just taking a lot of damage. And even if we top deck the Astalor this turn, we're not going to have enough mana to be able to play the entire combo. So it feels like we're just losing here. They have too much on board, we're not going to be able to remove it.
My hand is too full.
And we just kind of fold it under the pressure. And really, we should be killing them. Typically with this deck, you're getting the kill on turn 8 or turn 9. So second game in a row, the deck hasn't really performed all that well. Maybe we can figure something out here. We can go Scale and Feral Rage. Feral Rage puts us back up to 15, so that would be 4. Let's see, 9 and 12 is 21. Man, it's like nowhere close. Is there any kind of a Anubricon play that saves us? If we go like Bran, Anub, and then we can go Underking and Park Panther. Gives us a lot of armor, but then we don't have a win condition after that. Yeah, I really don't think anything saves us here. We have like no outs, so I'm gonna get out of the game. Unfortunately, have to leave. Keep up the good work and good luck climbing. Kurt, thank you so much. Appreciate you stopping by. And good luck to you as well on the climb if you're still in the process of climbing back after last season. I'm going to go one more. If we win, or rather if we lose 3 in a row and it's just not looking too good, then I'll probably switch decks here. And I find that in order to maintain a positive attitude while I'm climbing, I can't go on like really long losing streaks. So Priest here, I'm assuming this is going to be Shadow Priest, so I feel like if it's Control Priest, it's basically like a free win. If it's Shadow Priest, I would probably rather have things like Rake and Park Panther. Trolling me, man, the game. I needed Astalor last game, and here it is in my opening hand, when I don't necessarily want it. Against Shadow Priest, I'd rather have the anti-aggro tools, just because we don't want to take a lot of damage early. And next turn we'll have an interesting choice. Do we want to get the Astalor in play? Or would we rather look for something with the Moonlit Guidance? I mean, if we play Astalor, they likely just hero power it. Are they going to hero power anyway? I mean, we could still just play it next turn. I think we're going to go ahead and look for something with the Moonlit Guidance. And we're just going to take the Wild Blue Seedsman here. The ramp will be good for turn 4, or at least we'll have the option of either ramp or make a defensive play with the Park Panther.
Run as fast as you can.
And we could even just Feral Rage here to complete this step of the quest. And then I almost think we hold off. What do they do on turn 3? Play another 3-drop minion with 4 attack. So we can Park Panther and clear their board next turn. If we kill this now, potentially it makes their board even bigger next turn. The other issue is, if we clear their board turn 3, and then this is like High Cultist, then they get a huge board the following turn. So maybe it is better off to just kill it. I'm going to kill it and complete a step of the quest here. And then again, on turn 4, we'll have options as far as what we want to do. Hopefully the buff lands on something that they don't really want to play anyway, so there's no guarantee that they're going to be getting the 4-3. And if they do, this play is going to be better against the High Cultist. Can I still play Pure Pally without Cariel and Kotori? You can definitely play it without the Kotori. That's really good for them. And really unfortunate for us. Hopefully they don't have a way to be able to silence this. I'm going to ramp here. And the Innervate ends up being really good for us for next turn, because we'll be able to Innervate Scale if we need to and clear their board off. But again... yeah, so it feels like they've kept High Cultist, and if we clear this board, they're going to play the High Cultist. And they're also emoting us here as well, so we know that they have that High Cultist in hand. So if we clear all of this, then they're going to Cultist, and the board just gets even worse. So in order to clear, I guess, as much as we can, without using the scale, we can make this play. And hopefully this buff doesn't land on the Cultist. Actually, maybe we hit here and kill this guy, and then they have no way to remove this before the Cultist. But we're taking a lot of damage here as well. Although we do have access to healing with this deck. As far as without Cariel, Cariel's a really good card in Pure Paladin. If you're playing like the more mid-range version. And see, this is exactly what we knew was going to happen here. So again, you know, we're taking a lot of damage. But we should be okay. Let's see. Make sure I get the math right on this.
Arcane Bolt.
Guess this should be fine. We've got 1-2 there. We've got 1-2 here. And then I guess we're just clearing this because this represents the most damage that's left on the board. And then we'll pass. But again, we're just getting so low. All of these matchups have actually felt pretty bad for this deck, so we're likely going to be switching decks. You can play the aggro version of Pure Paladin, and you don't need Cariel. I think we just make a tempo play, but if they have the Shadow Word Undeath, then this ends up being really bad for us. But we can make a tempo play with, like, a Nubricon and these two guys. And it just puts a lot of stats on the board. And we want to kill the 5/5 here. And actually, we're still just dead to the hero power, so that's going to be a concede. Also, our opponent really liked to use emotes. We're going to let him cook. Currently use the version with Liadrin, Purator, and Countess only. Yeah, so I've kind of got... I'm going to play a deck similar to that right now. We'll take a quick look at it. I was going over some of these decks in that opening monologue that actually I was just talking to myself the entire time, but this is more of like a mid-range version of Paladin that does run Cariel, and I think Cariel is probably pretty important in this kind of version, but if you play that aggro version that plays like Sanguine Soldier and the Seal of Blood and things like that, you don't need Cariel in that version, but something like this, you would probably still want to have it. I mean, you could test it out to see if it would work. But Cariel is just such a good, strong defensive option that I'm not sure that it would work all that well. Also important to note here, losing 3 games in a row. So I'm on the 10-star bonus this month, which really makes the climb to legend much longer. And so, you know, one of the questions that frequently comes up is, hey, I'm not legend or haven't been legend. How do I get there? And this is why it just comes down to playing more games. Like even with a 60% win rate, if you do the math on it, and realize just how many games you're going to have to play to, it's another priest. I'm going to keep these guys. Then you just realize that it's just a numbers game of being able to play games. But it's also important to keep in mind, you know, you get up to like rank 4 or even sometimes like a rank 1 and then you lose back down. So that's just more games that have to be played. So you just got to stay positive mentally and keep jamming games. I don't want to just play this. Also, this is not Shadow Priest, which is pretty interesting. The fact that it's not Shadow Priest makes me think that it's okay to just go ahead and trade this city tax.
Let the dead rest.
And once again, Hearthstone trolling me because I wanted to play this turn if I could. Other than that, we're just going to curve out here. And this has to be like a control priest, I would think. Which means we're going to want to be careful with the minions coming off of the invitations. Oh, it's this. I haven't seen this in forever. What a boring deck. So we're just like giga favored. If this is Hogwash Priest, where they get huge minions, we've got equality to help us clear, and we also have the class action lawyer, so I think we're just like really favored. We have 2 of these in hand. So I think we're going to be fine here. So I'm just going to play my board and go face. Do we want the Cariel? I don't think we need the Cariel, do we? We just grabbed the Anachronos in case we need it. On turn 6, we could go like class action Cariel to help us remove something. Because our opponent, if we punch face here, then our opponent can like heal up in Zarella to clear our board, and then the following turn, if we don't have a board, then it can be a little bit awkward because equality isn't going to allow us to be able to remove stuff, and removing stuff is really important. So I'm going to take the Cariel, and then I do want to go ahead and play this guy. And then I'm going to pass turn. Although I guess they could still heal and Zarella and clear everything except this guy. Unless it's like Boar Priest, maybe it's some kind of surprise Boar Priest, I still think we're fine here. I guess it could also be like Savalna Priest. But at this point, with the amount of mana that we have, I think we're fine. If our board gets wiped out by a Zarella, I think I'm actually okay with it. So I'm just going to make the play like this. Unfortunately, not able to spend mana here. I need to hold on to these guys in case it is like some kind of buff priest. And we're kind of finding out. We're finding out now that it is buff priest. Potentially they just coin out the... Okay, so we're going to remove this. And then they're going to have the two... This is looking like Savalna Priest. They're going to have the two reanimate deads, which is kind of bad news for us. So the question is, do we want to use a class action lawyer here? I think the answer is no. We just play the Cariel and make a few trades.
The answer is here.
Or really, we don't even have to make a few trades, because the Cariel has so been buffed up so much. And then we'll just hero power to spend our mana. Definitely was not expecting this kind of deck. So here we see that it is the Savalna deck. And so I feel like this is going to be a good turn to just get the Countess down. We remove this, get down the Countess, and then likely we just have to play like a Holy Maki roll to get it out of our hands so that we don't overdraw. Because we still want like Cariel, Leviathan, Anachronos. There's a lot of good things that we still want here, so... but I do want to go ahead and get these invitations in hand. And then we'll just throw away this little bit of healing here. We do have another copy in this version of the deck. And then we'll pass it back. So our opponent doesn't really have a way to be able to clear a big board, I don't think. Not sure exactly what they're running in this deck, but I'm assuming there's not like a whirlpool. So we could just win potentially with just big minions off of the invitations here. I mean, we could even like class action city tax this just to be able to push the damage face in addition to having the big board. So I'm going to start off and see what we get first. We really just want big stuff. No death rattle minions in the deck. No nature damage in the deck. These are the same, I guess, as far as the stat line. This is just extra damage. I think that's pretty good for us in this situation. It's also a 6/6. And then... if we're going to class action, then we need to just go ahead and play the class action. I feel like we want to save the city tax, though, so maybe I end up just making this trade. So we'll go ahead and see what we have from this invitation. And unfortunately, we low-rolled on the invitations quite a bit, I think. I'm going to take the Rakara. And then I just want to go ahead and play these guys out. As well as that. And so now we've got a nice board, so our opponent really has to remove this. So we'll see what they're able to do here. If they're able to somehow get a big board on their side, we do have equality city tax to reset the board, but we're kind of all in as far as our invitations go on this turn. And you can see now they're just going to be doing a lot of, well, they're going to be playing a lot of free spells, so I'm going to be sitting here watching Hearthstone for probably about 2 minutes. You're going to get to see it too, so that's great. I really don't like that this is actually a deck. Like, this is an Oxygen Thief deck. This deck should never be in Hearthstone. I really don't know what the developers are thinking here. Because we're forced to watch our opponent do things for however long the turn timer is, 90 seconds, I guess. It's infinite resources. Like, they're likely taking more of these animate dead so that they can do this again next turn. Why is there infinite resources in a trading card game? It just makes no sense. They could go forever if there wasn't a turn timer. And assuming that they do hit more of these animate deads, they just go again next turn, and they outlast us. So they remove our entire board, they did damage. Maybe they didn't take animate deads, but I find that to be pretty unlikely as well. More damage, they're still going. I mean, supposedly it's my turn right now. Absolute oxygen thief. This is the kind of person that they're more invested in making their opponent miserable than they are actually playing Hearthstone, I think. So we're definitely clearing the board like this. And then I'm going to get down this guy. And actually a second copy of the Countess here going to give us the potential to be able to create an additional way to be able to win the game, I hope. But again, I think our opponent just goes off again with animate deads. Like, this isn't even a hard deck to play. Oh, look. More animate deads. I saw people talking about this being a skill deck. There's no skill in this. Oh, look, another animate dead. And they're reviving their board. Like, is this really hard to play? Infinite resources, discover, so you're guaranteed to be able to pick something good? Come on, bros. I also would like to be able to play Hearthstone. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. Like, what a waste of time this is. Our opponent gets to have all the fun, while we sit here and watch them have fun. What kind of design is this? And look, again, we're taking damage every turn because, of course, they're discovering damage. And then, on top of that, they likely just filled their hand with more animate deads. So one of the things that this deck makes me think is that there should be a limit on the number of cards that can be played in a game. So you can only have 2 in your deck, and maybe discovering an additional 2 is fine, but at that point you just shouldn't be able to discover additional copies. Look, once again, it's supposed to be my turn and they're still going. So I guess we have to high roll an invitation. Maybe we'll start with this. I guess it's a raid boss, but we can't play it this turn, so now we have to high roll an invitation off of the Countess. Gigafin one time. Okay. In the chat, is it left, middle, or right invitation that has Gigafin in it? I feel like most people go for the right. I'm leaning left. Gigafin's in this one right here. Where is he? What do you guys think? I'm going left. He's going left. Dude. None of these are Gigafin. We're just dead on board, right? Yeah, we're actually just dead on board here. Middle. I think you were probably right, Cax. I picked the wrong one. Well, we played the one guy that was playing Savalna Priest, so I'm glad that's out of the way. Absolute donkey. But if they capped, like with those animate deads, if they just capped cards so that you can play a maximum of 4 copies in a game, I feel like that removes a lot of the stupidity that we experience in Hearthstone at times. It just feels like that would be a good design decision. Same thing with, like, you would see it in Frost DK, like they would create all these additional copies of Frostworm's Fury. They keep your board locked down, and then you just never have the opportunity to be able to do anything. I'm going to toss the Protector here. We've got 1 into 2. I'm going to get rid of the Purator as well. I'm assuming this is going to be like a Swarm-style Shaman. I don't think Evolve is really a thing anymore. So I really want, like, equality and city tax. I want minions that I can play on curve. I feel like we're just going to want to be removing boards here. I'm going to get down the higher attack minion just because it challenges, like, totems and boards a little bit better. It's really interesting. I mentioned earlier, I only played... They got the 1 attack totem. That is really unfortunate.
Initializing descent.
It's not bad, but it is unfortunate. I mean, we draw it anyway with these guys, so maybe we just take the Light Ray here. Take the minion because it gets buffed. Our opponent has a really good trade now. That's slightly frustrating. Stuff like this is what mounts up, though. But if you don't play for like a day or two, especially when there's a patch or something, you fall so out of touch with what other people are doing. The other interesting thing is, as soon as we switch off of the druid, we run into matchups that are good for the druid.
May the light grant you.
I'm gonna draw here, and then I'm just gonna play the two more 1-cost cards because I want to reduce the cost of the Light Ray here.
May the light grant you peace.
And I'm just gonna take this trade. We're not in any big hurry. We're not gonna be winning the game anytime soon. Again, we're kind of relying on the Countess and the invitations to give us ways to win the game. And it looks like we're playing like some kind of big shaman, which is pretty interesting. I wonder if they play any kind of evolve in this, because if they don't... I mean, I can go like class action on this and then coin out a 7/7. It just feels like a pretty strong play here.
My client has the heart of a Kyrian.
Let the dead rest.
And there's no reason to remove this unless they are playing evolve. This doesn't seem like an evolve kind of deck, though.
Neutralizing threat.
I'm going to push the damage face. We're not trading for a 1/1. If this ends up evolving into a 5-drop, I'm going to regret it, but I really don't see how they're playing the evolve package. They play the 3-mana mass evolve, so they do. They could not account for the high roll on Hook Tusk, though. So that's good. I feel like we need to save the equality.
Really? It's not too heavy.
Unless we're trying to kill them. I mean, if we equality now, we can take a trade. Everything else goes face, and we actually set up lethal for next turn. We need to clear the board because of Shadow Hunter Vol'jin.
The answer is here.
Doesn't the title say Guff to Legend? Where's my bro Guff? Hey, nice to see you, Alaba? Apologies if I messed up your name. Let me know in the chat how to say it if I did mess it up. I started off 0-3, so I switched off to a different deck. We can always go back to Guff, though. My boy Guff is actually rotating soon. I think I'm going to set up lethal for next turn. We'll see if our opponent can answer this. Yeah, we went 0-3 with the OTK Druid deck. It felt like the meta was just too fast. We ran into 3 aggro decks, and then I switched off to Paladin. and then we hit a Savalna priest, so it's been kind of weird on the ladder today. I don't know, maybe it's the weekend? I don't know, it just has felt weird so far. So our opponent was able to get the clear here. I'm going to start with this guy and get a little bit of Discover going. I think I actually take the Conviction. And then we'll just go as wide as we can on the board here. This is potentially lethal for next turn. If it's not, we should at least have a safe turn to be able to count us. And then the following turn, we've got invitations to be able to play, see what we can find. Yeah, it's been tough today. I think we're actually still looking for our first win. First win of the day proving to be a little bit elusive today. So we go Cariel and Conviction. We need to be able to get non-damage face and remove these guys. Is it possible? So we hit here. And then if the Conviction landed right, we could go boom, boom. And then we have 4 damage face. So we're actually just going for the invitations? Or are we able to even remove an 11 health? We can't even remove the Glug at 11. So I think we're just going for the invitations here. Get the invitations in hand for next turn and just pass. Our opponent can slam all of these. That's not super threatening. We have other things in our deck that allow us to deal with it. And they might even have to trade for the Countess here.
For you are graced with my presence.
If an invitation hits like Mr. Smite, then we could have lethal with Smite and Conviction. I don't know, they're pretty low health. Hopefully there's no Brucon here.
Obviously, I never miss.
They play Maelstrom Portal. So wild, I have no idea what I'm playing against. So next turn we're going to have options. I mean, we may actually have to, that's pretty unfortunate for us here. And they're able to push face. We hit the equality, which is good, but we don't have a city tax to be able to pair with it just yet, so we're going to start off with invitations just to see what we hit here. I'll take the Huntsman. And these are all bad, so we just take the biggest minion. Which I guess is the 6/6, just for the higher health. And we're going to take one more shot here. And again, all bad.
I'm running out of time.
All bad. I'm going to use the equality here.
All are equal.
And this guy at least removes those. I don't know. I guess I would have made this attack, but I was a little bit too slow there. Just thought a little bit too long. But again, we're in a decent spot to be able to present lethal for the following turn. Until this came down. Curator actually draws us a ton of cards here. What if we go, let's see, Conviction. If the Conviction lands here, we go boom. Cariel into this, we would have 11 and they're at 21. So maybe we're better off just drawing cards here. Or we can draw cards and Cariel to be able to remove our opponent's board.
Legendary is for the pure only.
This card can actually draw a ton in the deck too, by the way, depending on what you have left. So we'll go Cariel. And we're going to bump into this guy. We are going to trade with you. And then we'll trade with you. And then we're going face. And I'm going to go ahead and get the 5/5 down as well. Kept 2 cards since the beginning. Yeah, he still has 1 that's in hand as well. Sire and 10 mana spell. Yeah, I don't think Sire's going to be good enough here. I don't think this is good enough either. I'm pretty sure we just kill him here. Conviction's going to hit 3 targets next turn. They take the taunts. And they didn't get the heal. So we need to see which minions this lands on.
Stand with me.
So the 4 and the 4 are clear. And then these guys are going face. So we got there. A strange deck from our opponent. Hey Miguel, nice to see you. A big fan of your videos, been watching all your stuff, trying to learn about the ladder. Yeah, the ladder's confusing me today, man. This it's been a tough day, man. The winds haven't been there today. I spent 5 minutes talking to myself because I thought I was live when I wasn't, and then I was late for a stream that I actually had scheduled by about 5 minutes, so that's been kind of tough. All right, we're gonna go back to trying to quest druid here, so that way at least the title of the stream isn't a total lie. First win of the day. I think our win percentage is like 20% here. And we've got a mage. I really hope it's not Big Spell Mage. Big Spell Mage is kind of like another Oxygen Thief deck. I'm going to look for ramp. It could be Aggro Mage. We got ramp. Park Panther is also good. Actually, I would probably, if I had any reason to believe that the deck I was against was aggro, I would be keeping Park Panther in the mulligan as well. Pika No Laugh. I think this is actually a One Piece reference. I don't know if you guys are familiar with One Piece, but there was a character, I think, named Pika, and he would get really mad at people that laughed at him. It's also Quest Mage, by the way. It's been such a weird day on the ladder. I don't know if it's because... I guess it's the 5th, and I'm not Legend yet, so normally, like... Usually I'll have, like, the 11x bonus, and so I'll get Legend, like, the 1st or 2nd day. I don't think I'm playing this just for a 3/4 body. I mean, it gives them targets for, like, arcane spells, and even frost spells in certain situations. They're probably not playing a lot of minions. I could just go ahead and pounce, but I guess there's no reason to since it's free anyway. But pounce would complete the quest. And then next turn I'll just ramp and draw here. But anyway, I feel like people are playing a lot of weird stuff. Stuff that I'm not used to seeing. I guess it's still early in a new patch, maybe people are experimenting, but this is just weird stuff. Just weird stuff. I'm gonna hold the aquatic form, so I think we just ramp, and I can even like pounce and remove this. I mean, I'd rather be ramping and gaining mana and drawing cards than making like a full-on defensive play. And I'm just gonna pass turn. I guess there's no reason to pounce. We do have the Rake in hand. They are playing at least some minions in this deck, so it might be more valuable to, like, pounce, rake a 1/3, and, you know, swing. There could be other things that we could do, I guess, so... Not a whole lot of benefit, I don't think, to just playing the pounce here. And we hit a Nourish as well, so we're going to gain mana. and then we're going to be able to draw cards here. So things feel like they're going pretty well so far this particular game. We hit the Bran. Also a Scale. Could have used Aquatic Form. I can't remember if this was actually in my hand. I could have used it last turn, but I can use it next turn and it's going to be just fine. And our opponent's really not doing a lot. We should definitely be killing them before they kill us, because they're doing almost nothing. And then at this point, I think we have an Innervate already in hand, and you only need 11 mana to be able to combo. So I think what I want to do is draw cards. So I want to play the cheaper stuff in my hand to be able to make room to draw cards with Nourish. So we're going to start with the Aquatic Form. I'm going to take the Feral Rage just because we can use it to complete another portion of the quest, which is going to allow us to be able to draw an additional card. Let's see, we still have 8 in hand. So I'm really just wanting to get rid of stuff out of my hand here, I think. We're likely not going to need the Rake in this matchup. They're not playing a lot of minions on the board. I'm just going to make room. And we actually hit a Guff that we can play next turn. And this is actually just ramp, so I'm going to play that and punch face here. This is one of those matchups where it's just so good for us that it almost doesn't matter what we do. If we dissected these turns, I think we would find out that I probably didn't make the best possible play. But we're just so far ahead based on matchup that it almost doesn't matter what we do. Basically, at this point, we just need to find a Nubricon or Astalor. We can Aquatic Form again. And I'm going to just grab the second copy of the Underking. So if we go... Let's see, we do still have an Innervate in the deck. So I can go Scale and then Innervate the Seedsman, and then that thins the deck out a little bit more just so that we can find the cards that we need to find. And it's going to clear this board. Well, it doesn't totally clear the board, but it clears off the bigger, more threatening minions. And just removes... Oh, actually, it does clear the board. Apparently, I'm really bad at math today. So we still have, defensive options. We can remove the board. We're still just looking for the Astalor.
You want it?
Astalor is bottom 10, but it has not been bottom 3 on the 2 Aquatic Forms here, so that's a little bit unfortunate. And again, this play largely just irrelevant. And we hit the Astalor, so this turn is super straightforward. We actually get an extra Astalor, and that means that we're just killing them as soon as we can find the Anubricon, which again is not bottom. So it starts to feel likely that we just find it soon. And I'm going to go ahead and Innervate out the Guff as well here. Again, all we need is 11 mana to be able to do the combo. This draws us a card. So we still have 2 Cold Tooth Mines, which will guarantee an Anubricon, which would be lethal turn after next. Top deck a noob, we just win. We also have a Moonlit Guidance to be able to search for it. So we should be winning the game within the next 2 turns. Also, we've got the Hero Power to draw a card. There's no way our opponent's killing us. Just a strange deck. Absolutely strange. They're playing the weapon. I have no idea what's really going on. How they're trying to win. So again, we're just going to Moonlit, and we hit the Anubricon, but we're 1 mana off from being able to play the combo. If we go... Actually, we still just kill them, right? They've got a total of 26. We go Anub. And then we have Bran, Astalor, and the 8-mana Astalor. Go Anub, Bran, Astalor, the 8-mana Astalor. So, getting to the... we're hustling backwards here. This isn't typically how the combo goes off, because typically you're going to need to play 2 of these guys, but because our opponent is only at 26 health, the 28 damage is going to be able to kill him off of this. And I say the opponent is at 26 because that was their health total plus the health of the minions on the board. So since it was lethal, we just go ahead and play it. But the following turn, if we had needed to wait one more turn, we would have had 56 damage. And now we're on a win streak. You gotta love Hearthstone, man. You go from losses to win streak at the snap of a fingers. Alright, I'm gonna grab a quick break and run to the restroom here. And we're gonna check out and see what... Zobo is up to while I'm gone. Thank you so much for watching. I will be right back, 1 to 2 minutes.
Our gift of the arcane enlightens us.
Our tunnels run deep.
Too much power!
Randa versus the Thunder King!
I am the slayer of kings and gods.
Alone give me strength. Blessings to you.
Too much power!
We're back. This guy right here, Zobo, he was the first person that I personally ever saw play Incorporeal Corporal and Whispers of the Deep. And I've seen like lists on Twitter, people are playing right now versions of this deck with the Corporal and Whispers of the Deep. This guy was doing it like a month ago. And I'm not going to say that he was the first to do it. He may have seen it somewhere else as well, but he was the first person that I personally saw playing that. Oh, nice. And it's been quite a while ago. Hey, Howie. Far and away the best live narrator of instructional Hearthstone content. Do your skills carry over from your career? Honestly, I would say no. I just like to talk. I'm just a talkative person, man. So my career is actually retail. And I do have a team of people under me, so, you know, I do training and have a lot of conversations and things like that as I kind of like chart the course for where we want to go. And I even tell people when I'm training them, I like to talk and I like to explain things. It's like a personality type thing. But sometimes that leads to like talking too much or over-explaining, and it actually frustrates some people, I think, if you over-explain. But I always like people if I'm explaining something, I like people to understand the reason why, because that would help me. Knowing the reason why helps me to do something. Is it Mind Lock or aggro? I think we keep the Rake no matter what. It's going to be worthless against Mind Lock, but it's typically a good keep as a general mulligan. And Nourish is always a keep. So anyway, I always tell people, look, if I'm getting too long-winded, you know, just tell me to shut up. I promise it's fine. It doesn't bother me. But I actually took my job paid for me to take a personality test, and not just me, but a lot of people that work for the company. And, well, that's interesting. I think we still take a higher cost card here. No, I think we take a low cost. I mean, it's no guarantee, but we want like Aquatic Form or maybe Innervates even. I feel like this is going to be Mind Lock. We actually hit an Aquatic Form. That's nice. So I'm going to pass. We'll play this on 4 to potentially maybe hit like a Wild Blue Seedsman. But anyway, the part of the personality test... Oof. They want to draw a lot of cards off of this. I think I actually just double Rake. It allows me to remove 3 minions. I'm going to be really sad if it turns out that this is actually like an aggro deck, because then I'm just kind of... I don't know if wasted is the right word, but I'm going to be sad that I don't still have those Rakes, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll just remove all that. This will be an easy win if we can get the Astalor combo, I think. Kind of depends on whether or not they have Rod, if it is Mind Warlock. But anyway, this, like with this personality test thing, I rated very... Oh my gosh, dude. Ree! But I can kill this. Both Innervates are on the bottom. I'm going to take the Underking, because that's going to be a defensive play for us. We're going to remove this. So next turn we ramp, and then we have the Underking the following turn. But this matchup is going to be significantly difficult. Especially since we have no cards in hand. Maybe we'll ramp and be able to hit like a Pathmaker. We'll see how it goes here. But this is also a kept card. If this ends up being like the Rafam, then we're just going to be absolutely toast. It's almost just like a matchup loss. Same... Is that white? The test that I had, I don't think white was one of the results. It was like blue, which was analytical, and that was my highest thing. And then red was like... I don't want to say aggressive, but it was like get it done right now. And then I think maybe green was caring about people. And yellow was just being really social. This is never enough. If I had like one more Underking in hand, I would almost make like a tempo play. But I'm just going to go for the scale and clear this off. And hopefully they don't have a Rafam. To be able to get a lot of this stuff back. I'm going to go ahead and hit, just on the outside chance that this version of the deck has like a Mortal Coil. Okay. So now we do have 2 copies of the Underking. I think we just go all in on a tempo plan here. Because one Underking is going to die if we hit this. And then that gives us the armor to be able to play another one. Gosh, it's still not enough. It's actually still not enough. So I think I'm going to actually double value trade here. But look, I mean, our hand is absolutely empty. We have to hit some kind of card draw. Feels like we're just really struggling here. Oh, and it looks like they're actually playing the curse version as well. So they Abyssal Wave, and it clears our board. Oh. But they can Mortal Coil this now? Yeah, man, this is tough. Hopefully there's... And they draw 2 of the 3/3s, man. I don't think I've ever had 0 cards in hand with this deck either. At least it's not Mortal Coil, but we're really far behind and we got nothing going for us here. So this does draw another card. And that's going to draw a card. Innervate doesn't do us any good, though. 16 cards in the deck. They drew all 3 of their Dread Imps as well, which is unfortunate. And it actually is the curse version of the deck. But again, I mean, we should be, typically with this deck, you're killing your opponent on turn 8 or turn 9, and we're nowhere close. We actually don't even have, like, the combo, because we had to play the Anubricon. So I think at this point I'm actually just wasting time by staying in the game. Yeah, we're never beating this. Again, I mean, Imp Warlock, like, I just don't ever really see people play in this deck. It's unfortunate. And I feel like, just kind of generally speaking, like, based on the different kind of decks that I'm seeing, for me personally, this is the time when I have the hardest time climbing the ladder because I don't know what to play. It feels like as soon as I switch deck, I see an entirely different field. And so I have a hard time trying to find like a matchup advantage by playing the correct deck at the correct time. Just because there's so much variety in what we're seeing. I'm going to keep the Seedsman here. We want the ramp. And we'll likely just use Guidance on 2 to try to look for, most likely, additional ramp. I don't know. The interesting thing is the Undead Priest performed really well a couple of days ago when I was playing it. And I think it would do good. Maybe I should actually just check out like the Undead Priest. Do I want the Astalor this early? So what are we playing against? It could be Ping Mage. They full kept, by the way. That's 4 kept cards, which is either scary or it means our opponent doesn't really know how to play the deck that they're playing. I can take the Aquatic form, use 1 now, basically pick my top deck for the next turn, and have an additional Aquatic form. Maybe that's better than any of this other stuff. They also like to emote, by the way. I'm going to take the Innervate. And now Hearthstone is mad at me. Hopefully the stream is still live at this point. It looks like I'm going to have to close Hearthstone. I think we're back. We are back. Alright, so I'm going to Innervate the Seedsman. Opponent mad. Opponent mad. Oh, we hit the Nourish. Nice. So next turn we'll Nourish. See if we can find a Guff, but or we'll Aquatic form, but we're still going to Nourish anyway. And Hearthstone just totally zonked out on me. That was weird. Take a look and see what we've got. I think it's just Seedsman. We still have another Nourish in the deck. We have an Innervate. I just want to draw and thin the deck. So we're going to ramp. And then I guess I'm just going to go ahead and punch face here. There's no real reason to not punch face. And then I'm going to hold on to the Pounce and the Rake, because that's going to give us the ability to be able to remove some kind of minion on the board. Not quite sure what our opponent's game plan is here. They took damage off of the Prismatic Elemental. We should be really safe here. There's no way they're killing us anytime soon. If this is just like the aggro mage from a while ago, it's not that great. Or their start hasn't been all that great. And I think we actually just want to draw cards. Like, we're not under too much of a threat. It's really just about drawing cards. That's where we're going to get our defensive options, and where we're going to be able to find our win condition, really. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to go ahead and play the Astalor. And that'll be good. So this, unfortunately, is now set to ramp. That's not what we need. So worst case scenario, we need like a Nubricon, we need Bran, and we need Innervate to be able to get the combo, assuming that we don't draw Guff. We can guarantee the Anubricon with the Cold Tooth Mine. And they actually missed on the 1/1s, which is good for us, so they can't freeze our face here. So we are going to be able to attack. And Park Panther actually lets us clear the board, and it completes turn 1 of the quest. So we can actually go Panther and draw the Anubricon. This draws Innervate guaranteed. So we definitely want a Panther. And I don't think it matters which one we hit, so we're going to take the least amount of damage out of these. So we'll hit like that. And I'm still going to hold on to the Pounce and the Rake. And I'm going to get the Seedsman down just because that's going to be a minion on the board. This way they can't take a trade and ping here to be able to remove the 4/2. And then the Seedsman is going to draw the Innervate. And I don't want to play the Innervate because if I haven't played the Guff, Innervate is actually a part of the combo. It's going to be a part of our Astalor combo. And Solid Alibi actually does nothing against the combo as well because they take 1 damage a turn. They take 1 damage at a time every time off of the Astalor when the combo comes down. So everything's looking pretty good here. Our opponent's making defensive plays that don't actually matter. And it's just not going to help him. So we're totally fine with this. I think I want a Cold Tooth. If we hit Aquatic Form, we take another look at the bottom of our deck. And then that's going to set the Pathmaker to draw the top end. And we actually hit the Pounce here. So I can remove this with Rake and draw another card by going like Attack and Pounce, and then I can Rake this. It's going to give us a little bit of healing. And I'm going to leave this one just to kind of scare them because it's been in our hands like for so long. And we actually hit the Anubricon off of that, which is good. And then we're going to Rake. And then we can actually go ahead and just draw the other Aquatic Form to be able to take a look at the bottom of the deck. And I'm just going to Hero Power. So next turn, if we really want to, we've got Pounce and Hero Power, which completes the quest. And there could be some scenarios where we actually kill our opponent with like a Bran quest reward. Unlikely, but it could happen. Opponent's at 36. Not the end of the world. We hit a scale, so we're going to start off with the Aquatic Form. Draw your highest cost card. Doesn't really do a whole lot for us in this situation. I guess we can just take the Park Panther here. It doesn't super matter. Draw the highest cost card thins the deck, which makes it more likely that we find the Bran or the other Moonlit Guidance. And I can even let our opponent make the trades here, I think. And maybe I don't want to let the opponent make the trades, because they could have like a Deathborn that's really bad for us if we don't trade.
That rope's burning again.
And this is just a very clean way to complete the quest. So this guy goes face, this guy trades, and then we're going to hero power and go face with our damage here. So everything is set up for the combo, we just have to actually find the Bran. So either Bran, Moonlit Guidance, we wouldn't be able to kill next turn, but possibly the turn after. So we could even just be, depending on what we draw, we might actually make a defensive play with like the Underking here. We also still haven't found Guff, but as long as we have the Innervate, it doesn't matter. Solid Alibi also doesn't matter. If we draw the Bran, we still just kill him.
Of these caverns chill me.
Could even just like play a, well, the Scale of Onyxia is not as good because these guys are frozen now. And we actually draw the Bran, so this just kills him. 31, 36, yeah, they're at 44 and our combo has 56. And I think it actually still goes off, like even if these guys snipe the Bran, which is unlikely. So we're going to Bran, Innervate a noob, play the 5-drop. You also have to have 5 spaces on the board to be able to do the combo like this. If we had one more minion on the board that was frozen, we wouldn't have enough space to be able to do this. This is also really long animation, so we're punishing our donkey of an opponent for playing Solid Alibi, which is great. Unfortunately, we have to watch this. It would be nice if the animations didn't take this long. Like the animation on Solid Alibi, taking this much time is really painful. But it is what it is. Could be another small quality of life improvement. And we finally get there. So Solid Alibi Mage does absolutely nothing. At least against this deck. And I mean, realistically, they're never going to have enough minion health on the board to be able to block the combo either, because all the minions in that deck are just really small. So should be a favored matchup, unless they get just a lightning fast start. Warrior, assuming this is Control Warrior, it should be a free win. They have the ability to get a lot of armor, but we have the ability to punch them and remove that armor. And then if you go all the way up to 18 mana, you can actually play a combo that's going to deal, what is it, 74, I think? So as long as we don't let them get that high up, then we should be fine here. Oh, and it's actually Pirate Warrior. So we are going to remove this. So Pirate Warrior is a little bit interesting. We could actually lose to this by just getting run over by the pirates. They're going to get a lot of damage out of the Cannoneers. I think we just like pounce hero power and remove this. I want to keep their board clear so that we're not taking repeated damage from a lot of minions. Plus, it's just a clean way to be able to complete the quest.
Obey the sea.
Part 1 of the quest anyway, so we gain a little bit of armor here, and then this moves us closer to being able to draw a card with the second part of the quest. And even, you know, we play Park Panther, again, we're removing minions next turn, and then the following turn we can just rake, and that's going to complete part 2. Could even just go, like, hero power rake to remove this, and try to preserve our Park Panther a little bit. And you can see that damage coming in. I mean, this guaranteed dies next turn if we just play it. But then we have like Astalor plus Rake to be able to remove stuff the following turn. Next turn they could be playing 2 minions. Could be 1, could be 2.
Now how about
I guess the Park Panther just makes it pretty clean. We make the play like this.
lay the seed?
Glory, I'm here for the
Okay, so they don't even have to swing with their face. That's interesting. And we do see 2 minions here, so I can go hero power, rake this guy, and Astalor on this guy. And we're almost going to be able to... We might actually be able to win this game with like a brand hero quest reward here, which is pretty interesting. But I think this is still the line that we want to take, and then we're going to swing face. So like next turn we can go Feral Rage for attack and hero power. Yeah, maybe this matchup is good. Because I could potentially send 5 damage face, our opponent goes to 19, and then we're starting to get close. Although the deck does have healing now with that new pirate card that gains armor when they swing their weapon. Yeah, that's the one. So the other issue is, like if I play Scale of Onyxia on 7, I could clear their board and have 2 ones left. But if they have the Puffer Fist and a weapon swing, it removes all of that. Unfortunately, that's worthless. Maybe it actually is just Innervate Scale. If they don't have Puffer Fist, then we're in pretty good shape. Only 3 cards in hand. This also prevents them from gaining the armor. This is another matchup. I don't think I have any experience playing this matchup. Also kind of surprised to see Asvedden. It's pretty good for our opponent as far as what it's done for him here. Overall, I feel like this is a bad card, though. This is like a specific example where the card was insane, but generally speaking, it's just not good. The potential that our opponent actually completes the quest and plays the reward next turn, which is bad for us, because we're kind of on a clock, and we've not hit any ramp, we've not hit any card draw. Almost every play that we've made is defensive, and our opponent's at 29, so we're likely not killing them by completing the quest. And they actually are playing the quest reward here, so we're on a big time clock. So the play is maybe even just Bran Astalor, because we're going to need the Astalors, which is a little bit strange. Let's see, if we hit our opponent for 6, we can hit them for 7, and they're at 22. But we still don't have any way to be able to get that extra damage to win with, like, the Bran quest reward. It just kind of buys us some time. We go Bran Astalor. I don't know, there's a chance that the Bran survives, though, if we put the the big boy in the way. But we can't do that until next turn.
What if?
So we're just like taking a lot of damage here, it feels like.
Time goes short.
So I actually need to kill the 7/7 because I don't want to take this damage every single turn. I'm just going to go ahead and get this guy down, I guess. Take the armor, put a body on the board, maybe block some of the damage that's going to be coming out. Then we can go Bran Astalor. It's going to heal us a little bit, and it gives us 2 of the big boy Astalors. And maybe we can find a way to get there from there. Oh, and they have the Nelly as well. Interesting matchup. It's so hard. I'm not sure. This is the second time. It's only the second time ever playing this deck that I've had like no cards in hand. And it's happened twice within like an hour. This is the kind of game where it's hard to figure out a path to be able to win. Alright, aquatic form is good. I mean, the mine gives us a Nubricon, but we also need an Innervate. If we draw an Innervate, we actually just have...
Nobody messes with my friends.
We actually just have lethal. So again, I'm making a defensive play here. We do have a little bit of time. I mean, they're going to have to get through this the hard way. They hit a small weapon. That's really unfortunate that they're going to be able to push this damage. But if we hit Innervate, we've got the combo and we just win on the spot, I think. They're at 29. They might actually be able to put enough health on the board that 56 isn't enough. 13, 16, 20. Oh yeah. It's not enough, right? Because they gained a lot of armor plus what they have on the board. $27. Guff doesn't get us there. I don't think there's anything. That's really sad. I feel like this should have been a win. We just didn't really draw cards in the right order. Bad at drawing cards. If you're bad at drawing cards, you're probably not going to be winning Hearthstone games. So, unfortunate there. But those are the breaks from time to time. We're just going to go again. Try not to get too upset about it. Man, when I looked at that Zoo Hunter list, it really didn't look like it was all that good to me.
I will light the way.
I must protect the wild.
Opening hand is awful. Likely Shadow Priest. Maybe this is the deck we should actually be playing right now, is just go ahead and play the Shadow Priest. Glad to see the Nourish. And it is Shadow Priest. So I think the only card that we really need to be afraid of in this deck is the High Cultist. If they get a board of Undead, being able to bring it back with the High Cultist is just really, really strong. We take the Seedsman here. That's a pretty snap pick for us. We're going to Innervate Seedsman into Nourish for ramp. And that's going to help quite a bit. Kind of sad to see that. But we should be fine here. We hit second Nourish, so I mean, we've got Nourish. We'll be able to play Under King, which is likely just removal. It's only going to remove one minion. And you can see here, I mean, I can clear both of these, but if they have the High Cultist, we almost just lose, right? So if I pounce Hero Power, kill both of those with this trade, if they have the Cultist, and then we have the Under King, maybe it's better to force them to play the Cultist now than to let them sit on it for an even better board later. If that buff landed on the Cultist, then I would be super sad. They may not even have it here. They don't have any more kept cards, and I'm not sure that you would ever keep it if you're on the play anyway. Yeah, this is just tough. That's 12. We're going to gain 6.
Our gift of the arcane enlightenment.
This version plays Astalor as well.
Run as fast as you can.
And again, I mean, this feels like an above average draw. They're 9 cards deep. They hit both Animate Deads, both Haunting Nightmares, and a Shadowed Spirit. That has to be a little bit of a high roll, right? If I go a new Bran and this, I'm just never winning the game, right? We get a 7/7, 2 6/6s, and a Bran. We clear 2 minions. Well, I can't even use the Bran with it. Yeah, it's really just not looking good here. Matchup seems to be pretty tough. I think it's only the second time I've played against this, but this feels like an above average draw. To hit 3 of your 3 drops in the first 9, plus both Animate Deads, I don't even think they're playing the good version of the deck here, to be honest. And it doesn't matter, we're still just not doing very well. Alright, so we're going to draw cards. And then Aquatic Form. Okay, so we actually have the combo for next turn. As long as we don't die, we're fine here. I'm gonna do it on this guy because I don't want this to die and summon something else. And then we Hero Power and pass. So we've got the combo for next turn. Bran, Innervate, a noob, and then 3 of these guys. It's going to be 56 damage. And it looks like we're actually not dying here. We also need to not die to 9 damage coming off of those. And it ended up being pretty close. We were able to win, but I don't know, we drew half our deck. But it feels like we kind of high rolled our last couple of draws to be able to win this. But I do think that was an above average draw for our opponent. Oh man, we actually couldn't play the second one because we lost our armor. I still think this is likely enough to win the game. We just didn't win with the combo on that exact turn.
Run as fast as you can.
Although we're dead to 3 damage. So there's a lot of situations where we just die here. Shadowed Spirits were really good for them in that situation. But they need spell damage, or they need, they would need, if they had Cultist, I think we die. Wow. Not Cultist, if they had the Attendant. then we were just dead. But surely you can't have everything, right? Felt pretty strong for them to have the things that they did have. So certainly glad that they didn't have other stuff as well. Undead donkey!
Guff versus the Lich
I feel like Death Knight should be really good.
Will serve me.
Should still be fine even with the nerfed location.
I defend the blessings of nature.
Wonder what version they're playing. If it's Blood, this should just be an auto win. Unholy is likely really hard for us. And if it's Frost, I think we're actually favored because of the location nerf. So Unholy is like the only Death Knight deck that we don't want to see here. Everything else I think we're fine with. They only kept one card. It is Frost. So the deck's just going to be slower because of the location nerf, unless they cut the location. Turn 3, we're going to go Coin, Innervate, Nourish into possibly even Nourish again. Second Nourish is maybe actually for cards, though. Like, we need stuff in hand. We're going to need removal, like Rake, potentially Pounce, Hark Panther. But our opponent's off to a pretty slow start here. They've basically done nothing for the first several turns. Coin, Innervate. I'm going to go ahead in Aquatic form here. And we're going to take... Oh gosh. Astalor is actually removal itself. For the following turn. So I'm just going to Hero Power. We're going to save the Astalor because we might want to use this on an opponent's minion. So, but what we actually have here is a couple of pieces of the combo already. So we still need more mana. That's also weak. This feels like a really weak version of Frost. They're just putting no pressure on our life total. This draws the Anubricon. So I'm going to Nourish for mana again. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw the Anubricon and pass back to our opponent. So all we need is to play this and draw an Innervate, the second Innervate, or Guff, and we'll be able to kill our opponent. And again, it's not like the damage isn't really adding up just yet for our opponent, so I feel like we're okay here. We hit a Scale, and we have 2 in hand, so I'm just going to go ahead and play a Scale. If they have to spend another turn on Remorseless Winter to remove it, then I'm perfectly okay with that. And then I want to go ahead and get the 5 mana Astalor in hand, because as soon as we draw that other Innervate or Guff, we're going to be ready to either kill them or set up lethal for the following turn. Also, if they can't deal with this board, they're just taking a lot of damage here. I mean, I guess turn 7, they can freeze the board, and then all these minions are bad for us. Because we don't have the board space for the combo. Maybe this was actually a mistake, I should have thought this through. You need 5 board spaces, although with the way this game's shaping up, just 4 would be enough. And there's the Innervate. That's crazy. I really was not expecting... I was not expecting to actually top deck the second Innervate with 19 cards left in hand. So now this play feels really bad because we should be winning and we don't have the board space. And if they just freeze us with the Frostworm's Fury, it's possible we lose. We're potentially taking 9 damage next turn. Do I ever just get this down? I guess I don't have to. Because even just like Bran, a noob, and 2 of these, it's still 4 board spaces, though, that we would have to have. Maybe I do just put down the 5/5.
That rope's burning again.
Our gift of
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it down, just for the armor. This game actually worked out to be very unfortunate. I should have thought about this more, though. Like, the board wasn't threatening. There was no reason to play this, and all I did was block the combo, so that was actually a really bad play in retrospect. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't ever do this. We need either 4 or 5 open spaces on the board. And our opponent essentially just going to be freezing us out of the game. Although they've only drawn 11 cards, so there's no guarantee that they're going to actually have the... Oh, wow. So we just kill him with this Astalor, then. This is 16 damage, or this is 14. Plus what we have on the board. So it worked out, but the scale was actually bad for us. And we're still gonna combo him anyway here a little bit, just because it is a combo deck, but definitely a mistake here, playing the scale in that situation. Didn't need to be played, and then it prevented us from lethaling our opponent, but that was like a super low chance top deck to hit the second copy of Innervate. I wasn't expecting it, so my thought process was I wanted to put myself in a really good defensive position in case my opponent played like a Marrow Manipulator. It soaks up some of the damage, and I can trade for it and things like that, but just kind of a weird spot to end up in. Because even if they play the Marrow Manipulator, we were so healthy, we don't just die. I don't know, maybe it's too results-oriented to say that that was the incorrect play. 1 out of 19 to hit that Innervate.
Must protect the one.
Ishnu Allah, Archdruid.
Which just never happens. Probably a mirror match. If it's not a mirror, I think we're absolutely favored. If it's Renathal, we're definitely favored because we get to our combo faster.
I see you brought guests.
Yeah. So unfortunately here we don't actually have ramp. But we should be favored because our opponent has 10 bad cards in their deck that we don't have in ours. So we want to ramp and we want to draw cards as quickly as possible. We shouldn't be under any kind of threat as far as our life total. It's just we're trying to hit our combo before our opponent hits theirs. They do have 1 kept card here, so that's likely going to be ramp that they have. I'm wondering if it's worth it to play this for the attack. Just go ahead and get the damage in. We're probably not going to need the armor. The armor's going to end up being irrelevant. We advance the quest, and we get closer to being to part 2 of the quest to draw another card. Plus we're like damaging our opponent's health, because sometimes like these druids can actually create really big boards that have a lot of minion health on the board, so that the 56 damage combo isn't enough. So we'll make the play like that. I think I likely want to hold the Park Panther for when my opponent has a minion on the board. Just to guarantee that we get the attack. Like preemptively playing this and hoping it gets to attack next turn doesn't necessarily work. And it somewhat hurts our plan. We'll take the Seedsman for ramp, I think, here. And hopefully we hit the Nourish. We hit second copy of Innervate. So that's unfortunate. 2 out of 3 chance we hit Nourish and are able to ramp again, and we actually missed it. Okay, that doesn't really do a whole lot. Gain 8 armor doesn't do a whole lot either. I think I want to hold this in case we hit a nourish. So we're basically just skipping our entire turn, I think.
This'll be good.
Again, I'm going to hold the Park Panther. Being able to finish this next part of the quest to draw a card could be what actually wins us the game here. Plus, there could be something to remove soon. I think we actually just nourish hero power and take the 14. Next turn, we can scale. I mean, this prevents, if their board is full, it's going to prevent them from playing like the 8 mana card, draw 3, put the big taunt in the way. So I'm just going to ramp here
This'll be good.
and go face. And then next turn, we can actually go scale to clear the board and then play this to be able to draw cards. So our opponent, they're basically going to hero power. They're going to push 15 face. Oh, it's actually alignment. So again, potential here that they're able to put out just a really, really big board. Although they did already use 1 nourish, so that makes it less likely that they have more ramp. So I want to scale first. And we're going to clear the board. And then we're going to draw 3 cards.
You're not getting in this way.
And we hit the Astalor here, which is good. And we actually have draw 3 again. We just need to get rid of some cards in hand, I think, to be able to play this. But we're guaranteed to draw the Anubricon. So we just need to find Bran. Play the Astalor, get the 5 mana version of Astalor in hand to be able to set up the combo. And then we just need to find Bran. So hopefully we can kill our opponent in 2 turns. So next turn, we go boom boom, that's 4, that's 7. We can use 1 Innervate. Maybe we just play this. Second Nourish, 40 card deck, by the way. Largely irrelevant. We actually hit Guff. So we want to go ahead and get down the Guff. And then we've got this. That's 9. We can Innervate and draw the... Actually, if we're doing that, we want to go ahead and draw the Anubricon first, because if Anubricon is the next card on our deck, we would rather get it with this, and then we have information about what we want to do with the Cold Tooth Mine. I think what I said totally just didn't make sense, but this is the right order, trust. There's a Rake. We don't have a Pounce. I do want to play this. So I'm going to do that, and then we're just going to go ahead and spin the Rake here as well. And we're going to punch face. So our opponent has the ability to put a lot of stuff on board, and they're at 40 health, which is kind of bad news for us. Right now they're at 50. They're at 51. The second mine, this is going to put them to 57, which is bad news for us. 2 Pounces and an Aquatic Form on the bottom, or Underking on the top. What if we just go Park Panther, Scale of Onyxia, and we can even draw a card with the Innervate off of this. We hit the Underking. So I'm going to play the Panther. This is going to draw an additional card. It's going to let us hit face, and then they really need like second scale here. With 26 still in the deck. And then we're going to pass. I'm going to hold on to the Pounce. I'm assuming this is going to be the Lady Anaconda.
Make this look easy.
Okay, so they clear the board with the spammy Arcanist.
No care in death.
Yeah, it's coming to a point. They just have so much armor. We might actually need to get to 18 mana. We would have... Next turn we'll have 16. But it feels like we're going to need like an additional card to be able to finish him off here. I mean, I can pounce, kill this, Under King. There is another Nourish in the deck. But we need to ramp here for sure. And I ended up just throwing away the Scale, so the Scale of Onyxia was bad. I wasn't thinking about spammy Arcanist. Alright, the highest cost card is actually the second Nourish. So I'm going to take Mana Crystals off of that.
Rope's burning again.
And then next turn I've got enough for the 72 damage combo, but it may not even matter.
You're not getting in this way.
I'm going to do this. We're going to overdraw a card, but I don't think it really matters. That's 14 and 58. That's 72, and they're adding even more minions on the board, so we're still not going to be able to kill them.
From the smallest seed.
Hey Martin, how are you versus Big Spell Mage? I actually have not played a single Big Spell Mage. I played, I think, Aggro Mage either once or twice, but I haven't seen any Big Spell Mages. Yeah, that Miracle Growth is bad. They just have so much armor. And I wasted a Scale of Onyxia. And they're getting even more armor.
The time has come.
I think I just have to go for it. Do as much damage as I can, and put out as many big minions as I can. Which means I'm going for Bran.
Who knows what secrets will unfold?
Astalor.
Our gift of frost shields us.
A noob, and actually this is not as much damage as I actually thought.
Our tunnels run.
I'm gonna hit like this, and then I'm going boom and boom. It's only 56. But hopefully the board is big enough that our opponent can't do anything. I needed the 2-mana version of Astalor to really be able to get another one of these out with the Bran. I would have been able to play 3 copies of this, and that's where the 72 comes from. Or the 74, I guess it is. So we're kind of all in on this board being able to kill our opponent. And I don't know if it does or not. And they actually just took our Bran, which is bad. Okay, that's a loss. I think, honestly, I lost because I misplayed Scale of Onyxia. Second game in a row I misplayed that card, which is unfortunate. But we learn. This moment I'm Diamond 4 with my own version of Big Spell running Theatar and 9-0 against Druid. That's awesome, man. Yeah, Druid, Theatar, if you hit one of their combo pieces, it's just really unlikely that they're going to be able to win. So that's definitely a way that you can beat that deck. I'd be curious, though, like, how is Theatar in the other matchups? Like, is it good or, you know, not good? I kind of feel like, in general, the card is bad, but against combo decks like the Astalor Druid, it should be pretty good. I'm going to sneak away for a quick break, hit the restroom here, and we're going to spectate somebody, just so you guys have something to watch. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back in like 1 or 2 minutes. I'll see you shortly.
caress of death is not gentle.
We're back, armed with a fresh cup of coffee. Zobo grinding away with some kind of weird, some kind of weird Savalna, undead, the legend. Alright, so the druid is actually underperforming. And instead of just continuing to beat my head against the wall, I'm going to switch gears here. I was having a lot of success with Undead Priest a few days ago, so I'm going to go back to it. Taking a quick look at the list, this is what I was playing, and I think I still like this version. There's people that are playing, like, Animate Deads, people that are playing the, what's it called, Whispers of the Deep. They're playing this in conjunction with the Incorporeal Corporal, to be able to get like a early game board clear, and then the 5/5 is just able to continuously attack, which is good. But I feel like this card is actually bait in Undead Priest because you only really have one target that you want to silence, and that's the Incorporeal Corporal. Of course, there's 2 copies in the deck, and then I think that same version is also running Najak Hexen, now that I think about it. So you could silence this so that you just take a minion from your opponent, but then it only deals 1 damage. So I think I like this version of the deck. So I'm going to switch over and give this a try and see if we can actually start climbing. Because right now we're going about 50-50. Maybe even a little bit worse than 50-50. Last game I think was probably a throw. But outside of that, I think we're alright. As far as misplays with that deck at least. Against another priest. So see, now that I've said all that, this will be the game that my opponent lays down Incorporeal Corporal. Like coin it out on 1 into Whispers on 2. And just have like a 5/5 that kills me or something. Really bad starting hand for us here. You want like Arms Dealer, Banshee, Attendant, I think, is a keep, Mind Eater, and then if you have something along those lines, good gracious, it didn't get any better. If you have something along those lines, then you can keep one of the 3-drops here. It's actually Renathal, so again, we're playing an absolute donkey. Control Priest, man. I have no idea why people play this deck on the ladder. It's like such a big waste of time. This is a waste of time to the point that it would be more productive to take all of the cash that you have in your house, walk outside, and set it on fire. And you would actually be more beneficial doing that than you would be by playing a Renathal Priest deck. You probably think that sounds strange, but really think about it. You could buy like a lot of bad things with the money.
The more you struggle, the better.
So you save yourself from buying those bad things by burning all your money. It's like a net positive. You can't even argue with it. But this, total waste. 100%. I don't think we ever do this. I want to hold this guy. He just dies. So we're going to draw. And of course we're going face here. I kind of want to hold this for additional damage, Just getting like 1 additional damage this turn doesn't seem all that good, and I'm assuming that it dies. This definitely dies, but we'll be able to draw cards. So we're going to draw. And then I think I'm actually just going to play the Rotting Necromancer here. Other option would be to go Mind Eater and Amalgam. Maybe we save this. Just try to go a little bit wider and get additional resources in hand. And then we can save this for like a higher mana turn to combo with the Void Touched. And then at that point we could fit in a hero power with it as well. I think I like this a little bit better than just playing the 5/4. Might be harder for our opponent to remove 2 minions. And I think I like the guy that's cheap here. I was considering the Corporal because it's a 5/5, but it likely just dies. We're playing Control Priest.
The path is clear.
So I can buff here, and then Mind Seer on this guy. Undying Allies. I almost want to save it for like Haunting Nightmares and Shadowed Spirits, but maybe you don't save it. I can just go like these two. Necromancer, Necro Light, along with the Undying Allies. But I've got to spend a mana on the Mind Seer. Otherwise I'm having to like totally trade. So how much is that changing my play? Alright, we're going to do this, and I'm actually going to play the second location. So I'm going to push the 5. And I think I'm actually just going to ping here. Maybe not. Should be good enough. Unfortunately, we've got the Undying Allies, but we don't have any of our undead minions in hand that we really want to use it on. A lot of healing from our opponent here as well. I mean, we do have the Undeath, so I can bump and play this, but that doesn't leave us a whole lot of mana to do anything else. Plus, it's almost a full heal for our opponent.
Darkness beckons.
It feels like the best we're going to be able to do this turn, though. So we're going to hit face. And we really will just ping now. At some point I'm going to have to consider getting down the Void Touched Attendant. It doesn't look like it's going to get more than just a couple of damage this game. We're probably never going to have a wide board. Our opponent plays Undying Allies in their control deck. They're running out of stuff. Definitely want to draw cards here, and I want to free up a board space as well. I'm going to get down the egg, and I'm going to buff the egg. Probably what we're going to end up doing is we're going to Undying Allies on all of this stuff. So I'm going to Undying Allies, egg, and then draw off of the egg. We're going to hit here. And then I'm going to Undying Allies on these two guys. We end up floating a mana. Unless I just want to go ahead and use the Mind Seer. Maybe we use the Mind Seer here just to try to protect some of the stuff that's on our board. So now we'll be able to refill our board, hopefully with the Haunting Nightmare landing on something relevant. This is extra damage. Renathal deck. Oh my gosh, dude. Second Undying Allies, and the best possible card to use it on as well. I'm going to see my way out of this game because I'm getting ready to end up in a bad mental state here. Out of frustration. Renathal decks are so frustrating to play against, man. You take 10 extra bad cards, stuff them in your deck. You make your deck 25% worse. Like, no argument the deck is 25% worse. And yet they still hit like both copies of relevant cards in the matchup. And that's like the second Renathal deck and the second time we've seen it.
Tyrande versus Rexa.
Mathematically, it's just bad. Hearthstone's number generator, there's like something wrong with it. But maybe that's just me. Start a petition to change the number generator. Would like to see a pass on turn 1 here. Do you play mage? I do play mage occasionally. I tend to go for more like the aggro mage, though. Not as much into like the more control variants of mage. I think I'm going to play the coin here. They get a trade. If they land the buff on this, then we'll be able to trade with the Banshee, and we can buff a minion of our own. I just want to fight for the board early here, and hopefully we don't see the secret. Okay. That works out pretty good for us, I think. So we're going to play the Mind Eater and then take the trade on this guy. Make sure that we get the buff here. Just fighting for the board as hard as we can, and then at some point we're going to start going face and trying to kill our opponent. Ping Mage is also pretty decent as well. Oh, wow. Look, they have no cards in hand. I think this is the, oh, they had one of these. Man, that's great. If I go... Does this... If I play 2 minions, does this ever survive? I'm not sure that they're playing removal. Maybe they play the weapon. The 3-mana weapon. But if this survives and then I can buff it next turn... Or is it better to just get down like the Haunting Nightmare? Maybe this is just better. Helps us create a wider board the following turn.
Run as fast as you can.
Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. New in the stream, just asking. Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I tend to play like every class, but I gravitate more towards decks that I think are going to perform well. I definitely need to remove this, which means I either have to buff or ping. Boom, boom. And play this. And just hold on to the biscuit. No, I think I actually play the biscuit and this.
Something follows.
Or is it? It might be better to ping this off. We know that they have a biscuit in hand, so if they play the biscuit and hit, then this minion's totally removed. If they biscuit and hit here, it has like... It has more attack. I think I like getting rid of the Divine Shield better here. But yeah, I tend to play decks that I think are going to perform really well on the ladder. Rat King. Oh, it goes on this. Okay. I like it. I like it. So I'm going to ping you off, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get this guy down because it's going to summon the extra 4/3. We're going to try to take the board and now start directing our damage phase. So anyway, I don't think Mage is necessarily one of the best decks right now, so I haven't been playing it as much recently.
You better watch your step in this.
Tabish is so good for him here. They hit the explosive trap like guaranteed. We know they have a dog biscuit in hand. I wish I could have gotten a copy of Tabish. I think I play this. So then that leaves us a minion on the board. Let's play these two guys. And then if I get something back, I think I would want it to be the 1/3. Okay. We know for sure it's an explosive trap here. And then it could be... Oof, that's awful. It could be zombies here. This absorbs most of the zombies, so I guess I just throw it down. It's not. So it's either Ice Trap or Motion to Nod. Man, totally worthless. If it is Ice Trap, it's just insanely bad for us. So I'm going to make the play like this. Make sure I discover an additional undead, and Haunting Nightmare is going to be good. So we'll hit here, and then I'm going to ping off this guy. So unfortunately, I mean, they'll be able to make like this trade, and then this trade, and still have the Rat King on the board. So we're really struggling. We've done not one single damage to our opponent's face. Our opponents had no cards in hand, and it just feels like we've been behind every single turn. Huffer's going to hit us for 5. I would have never thought that we would be behind. I guess we were on the coin. No, maybe we weren't. Yeah, we had the coin, because we played the coin on turn 1 with Banshees. I think I have to take a trade here. It's got to be Ice Trap, and I can't afford to just waste 5 mana.
What is a loon's will?
I can draw a card with this guy. But I mean, we're basically just dead anyway. I think we just never beat Ice Trap, so I'm going to play as if they don't have it. And if it's Ice Trap, I just concede. If it's not Ice Trap, then we're still in it. That's pretty crazy. So they took Motion to Nod. I just need to make sure that I don't play any more than 2 cards a turn. That makes it really awkward, though. It feels like we're just not going to be able to find the damage to be able to finish our opponent. We need to top deck like second Undeath or either Grave Digging. We just play it at full cost. Actually, we're dead even with Grave Digging. Pretty much just dead. Yeah, we didn't hit it anyway. Unfortunate. It felt like we lost to Tavish is what it came down to. Behind every single step of the way. So I wonder what's good right now. Are you guys having any luck climbing the ladder? There's just so much variety right now. We're seeing a little bit of everything. Maybe we go back and try the Pure Paladin some more. This is going to be one of those jackpot donkeys that just looks to high roll. They high roll and they win, they don't and they lose. What kind of a deck is that? You would literally be better off taking all of your cash out into the street and setting it on fire than you would be to play Jackpot Rogue. Think about it.
I see you've brought
It's Renathal Jackpot Rogue. You'd be better off taking all the cash in your house, going to the bank, and taking out every dollar you own and burning it in the parking lot right there at the bank than you would be to play Renathal Jackpot Rogue. Think about it. I'm gonna play the Mind Eater here. It has more attack, and then this has 3 health, so they could like Tooth of Nefarian on this to be able to discover an additional card. This way, nothing has 3 health. Hope you're having a good weekend. Nice to see you, Chaos. Unfortunately, they found a way to be able to make use of the Tooth of Nefarian with the Bone Spike. Yeah, the weekend's been pretty good. I was actually off this weekend, so... I work in retail, so weekends off aren't necessarily common for me, but I got some good yard work done yesterday. Fertilized the lawn. Gonna draw cards here. And did a little bit of work around the house, so overall, yeah, it's been a good weekend. I hope you have had a good weekend as well yourself. I'm gonna take the brittle skin. Play a custom-made Blessed Priest with a decent win rate, and most of the time the opponent loses on turn 5 or turn 6. I believe it, man. Blessed Priest is probably still a really good deck, but just for me, it's been extremely boring. It's been a deck for, what, like 3 months, 6 months? You've been able to play that deck? And just for me, it's been boring. I just could never spend a whole lot of time playing the games. And it made me wonder, like, how did the one guy, Norwis, I have no idea how he was able to play that deck so much. Alright, I'm going to buff this guy so that we can trade here, and then we'll get a trade. I want to kill the other Concoctor in case there's a Shadow Step. Although, what if I just go face here? This minion becomes a copy. Does it copy the buff? Is it another 3/5? Because if it's another 3/5, then I don't even want to take this trade. And I mean, I definitely don't want to trade into that thing. Surely it doesn't copy the buff. If it copies the buff, I'm going to cry buckets. I'm going to go like this and just push the damage face. If an undead dies, which it's likely going to, then I've got Shadow Word Undeath to be able to retake the board here. Can you link your deck? I can. If I can find it. Oof. The priest. There we go. So it does copy the buff, apparently. That's unfortunate. We got a reconnaissance, though. But they're going to copy a card that's in our hand. Do we just look for a way to scam? Let's look for a way to scam. This is really bad. That's a shadow spell, though. And then I'm just going to triple 1-drop. So that's going to give us a 2-mana Shadow Word Undeath. That's actually pretty good. And then next turn I can play both of these guys. Hopefully top deck Undying Allies. Been a good weekend on my end. Haven't been active on Hearthstone this weekend because I knew the desperation would get unbearable in Standard rank. Yeah, I haven't played much either the last couple of days. Since the last time I streamed. That was really the last time that I... Hopefully there's no Shadow Step for this. They've already used one. Yeah, I haven't been playing a whole lot myself either. Did manage to get a few nice wins. Nice. I think I want to ping this just to make sure they can't shadow step it. Is there a better option? What if I just go Undeath to clear this off the board and then lay down the 5/4? And I don't even have to use the location this turn. I can wait and see if it actually survives. I like that better. Let's see what we get. Hopefully we get something that'll deal damage. I really hate seeing both of these on the bottom. I'm never going to get them. I feel like I have to take the undead because I want the 5 damage face. How important is the 5 damage face? Because, I mean, in order to make it up... Yeah. And then we'll pass turn, but that's unfortunate. But next turn, I'll be able to go Arms Dealer and these two guys. Plus, maybe I can get a buff. Hopefully no Trickster here. It is a Renathal deck. They can't have everything in the top 10 cards of their deck. And they actually get a good, I mean, that's not even a good card, but it's good in the exact situation that they're in. Absolute donkeys, man.
As fast as you can.
I should have actually done this first, in case I top deck Undying Allies. It's where you let the frustration get to you a little bit. Okay. It wouldn't have mattered, but it was still a misplay. There's no guarantee that this even gets us the 5 damage because we know that these two cards are not undead.
Symptoms will be severe.
Again, it's not even a great card, but it's really good in this situation. Their entire board is even costed minions. They've got, scabs for next turn. Definitely gonna get this guy down. And this gives us the 5 damage here. I mean, they would make trades before they scabs, unless they're just a little bit silly. I want to ping face. Actually, I don't. That's more total damage. I mean, it's a 40 card deck. They can't have everything. For the second time, as I say at this game. If they don't have scabs, they're making trades, and potentially... Hey, they don't have it, but they do heal. And they're able to clear our board here. They're going to be at 8. And again, I mean, we know that both Void Touched Attendants are on the bottom, which is really bad for us. I'm going to play the Benedictus first. Might be able to hit an Undying Ally. Actually, it's not even good because there's no cards in hand. Also, this just bugged out. Like, Benedictus had the Haunting Nightmare buff. I played Benedictus, and we didn't get the 4/3. Alright, well that's still better, but we should have a, there should be an additional 4/3 on the board here, and we actually just didn't get it because of a bug. So if you're playing this deck, just know if the Haunting Nightmare Death Rattle lands on Benedictus, there's at least a chance that it doesn't work. And I think I'd seen that on Twitter before. I kind of thought that the bug was fixed. Second Shadow Step also. So it's kind of like the only thing that they didn't hit was the scabs. Does it hit the 7/7? It hit the second best target. Do we still win? Oh, yes! So, as you can see, Jackpot Rogue, Renathal, Jackpot, Donkey. If you don't high roll the Jackpots and the Recons, you just lose. Well played. I don't know if it was well played or not, but thank you. That was not a game where I felt like I was navigating all that well. So here's a mage right here. I'm keeping the 1, and I'm keeping the 3. I don't want to keep the amalgam. If this dies, I never want to play this on 2 just by itself. Arms Dealer is a keep, though. And again, because I have the 1-drop, I'm going to keep the Shadowed Spirit. We also hit Attendant and Location. Hopefully they pass. Shivering Sorceress is actually really good against any play that we might have next turn. They do pass. Arms Dealer, coin Egg, and then next turn play the Attendant into Location.
I wonder.
And close enough.
I think this is the way to go. It's the most aggressive possible start. It gets an attack on the Egg, so we know we can turn this into a 3/3 if we need to. And now we have initiative. Our turn 2 might be a little bit weak, but we do have initiative in what should be a very board-based matchup. Or, no, I said that wrong. I don't know what we're playing against here. But initiative good, I do know that. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And likely next turn, we just Undying Allies with the Shadowed Spirit. Went from gold 10 to diamond 3 with this deck. Good job, Martin. It's a good deck. I'm not sure what the best version is. There are a couple of other versions out there floating around that are running some different cards, but definitely I think Shadow Priest is just good. I think I play the Location here. I can get more value out of Undying Allies, give an extra health to the Attendant, and then we push face. Imagine next turn if we're able to get down like a second Attendant. Like the damage adds up just so fast if you have double Attendant. I'm assuming that they're going to have the Commander Sivara in hand. I'm thinking. So I'm going to Undying Allies on the 2 undead minions and just push face here. Let them make the trades. If they have Sivara, they're going to get back a... Well, they would get back First Flame, Second Flame, and Solid Alibi. So, potentially a lot of removal, but they only have 1 mana left for next turn. So I'm going to make the play like this, and then the damage is just going face here. We're going to try to race our opponent down as quickly as possible. We have second Attendant in hand, too. I feel like we're in the driver's seat in this matchup right now. Think minion damage put pressure on him, which made the rogue player make the wrong plays, and that counts. Yeah, you could be right. There's something to that, and that's why it's always so good, like, to set up lethal, or, you know, just the different things that you can do. So he actually sniped this, but he still took 4 damage. And apparently plays Fire Sale, which is interesting. I play this, they potentially just take 6. And then I can buff him again. Haven't seen a Sivara yet. They take 6, they're down to 7.
What is in
And we still have like spell damage stuff in the deck. Plus, it's just like 2 minions on the board that puts our opponent under pressure. I think this is the play. It spends mana, it does damage. We take the undead for sure. And then I'm going to buff this guy in hopes that they get to live a little bit longer. Unfortunately, we do know one of the Shadow Word Undeath is on the bottom. No guarantee that we're going to have an undead. Oh, if we get to ping face here, this hits for 3. So we just play everything. But we don't play everything because we want the ping.
Run! Run as fast as you can.
But this is the play for sure. They're under a lot of pressure here. I guess if they have hero card, hopefully it plays like first flame or second flame.
What a delightful party.
What in the world is this? They hit Thaddeus, but it's on even. Interesting note about Thaddeus. Thaddeus is always the opposite of the turn you're on. So if you're on an odd turn, Thaddeus is even cost cards. If you're on an even turn, Thaddeus is odd cost cards. We win! What a weird deck, man! Donkey! Masked Reveler Mage. Masked Reveler Mage. Cue it up, baby. I'm ready. Oh my gosh, dude. You know what really depresses me sometimes? This is probably going to sound arrogant, and I try not to be an arrogant person, but I'm losing to these people. I've got like a 45% win rate today or something like that. And I'm seeing people that are playing like Masked Reveler Mage, Renathal, Jackpot, Rogue. And I did win a couple of those matchups, but still, like... sometimes I feel like I'm losing to either people that are just like memeing around or people who are legitimately just not good. I'm losing to bads, and it makes me so sad. Alright, Mind Eater's a keep. My arrogance is being punished by my contact. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the Banshee on one. If our opponent coins out a hero power, I kind of take that as a win because it gets the coin out of their hand. If they don't, then we're going to be able to follow it up with an undead that can actually make use of the buff. Going first just feels good with this deck. And I'm totally fine with that because the coin is supposed to be the mechanic that evens out going first versus going second, and they just use their coin to hero power. So that feels pretty good. Interesting that they choose to shoot face and not soften this up. Makes me think that they have a way to remove this. We're just going to spend mana here. It's going to get in damage as well. It kind of punishes them potentially a little bit. We'll see how it goes. It's more that bad players win with horrible and broken game mechanics. I think it's kind of Hearthstone. The best player doesn't always win when it comes to Hearthstone. I think I actually just ping and Mind Eater. We don't spend mana with this, and I don't want to like Undying Allies with just one minion. I'm gonna ping first and hope it goes face. It doesn't. So I mean they can ping here, but again that's 2 mana on a ping. So that's like half their turn. That's pretty good for him. Still not sure what we're facing. It could be like, this could be big spell mage even. It actually is. Interesting. So we're going to draw first. I think I want to hold the Undying Allies and play both of these next turn. So hopefully we get something playable. We should get something playable off of the grave digging. Second Cathedral, I guess. And we're just going to cash in our damage here as well. I think I want to hold this guy, because even just like Void Touched with Undeath, it's an extra 2 damage face, which could be relevant. And just spend mana by getting this guy down. So they can make this trade. Next turn, I'll be able to get Undying Allies out of my hand in case there's a Barbaric Sorceress. It's possible that they actually hit Rune of the Archmage with a Barbaric Sorceress. And we actually hit it ourselves. But I mean, we don't want to play it. We know that they have it, though. So now the question is, are we making our Undying Allies play? I think we have to. We need to get this out of our hand because we don't want to give them a 0-cost spell.
What is a loon's will?
And we're always going to be able to clear small boards like this with that. Plus, this is just like damage. So they play the Sorceress. Hopefully they hit like Rune of the Archmage and there's no discount whatsoever. They hit the Undeath, which is kind of bad for us. And we know that they're going to get dragons. Dragons are actually like really good for them even.
Run as fast as you
So at this point, I think we just go... Do I want to get this down? Because I can like play this, ping, double buff, go face for 8. It's so close to being almost lethal. I think I hold the Void Touched Attendant here. Because this spends our mana better. Let me start by drawing cards. Oh, wait. No, that doesn't work. We don't get to push that damage face because this is only 4. So what if we do just take the damage with this guy? Be not good. Another Undying Allies. Alright, I'm gonna do this. Then I'm gonna play the egg. And I'm gonna buff the egg. Be able to draw another card. Opponent's at 8, they've got a 5 mana. They need to hit taunts off the dragons. And even then, we're still close to killing them. We may have actually just...
My calculations, you need to
Oh wow, they don't even play the, Okay. Again, just close to killing them. Yeah. This would have been the play plus hero power, set them to 1. So Undead Priest, I mean, performance significantly better than the Druid that I was playing earlier. It's just a good deck. And this is a good list. I don't know how this list performs. I mean, I've got a 69% win rate, and it's not even like, it's not a super small sample size. It's not big enough to mean anything, but lots of people on Twitter are posting that their list has like, you know, 60, 70% win rate. It's just a question of what's the better list. Let me see if I can find an example of another list, and we'll take a quick look at the differences. I really don't like the other list. Man, I'm never going to remember how to spell this guy's name either. Oof, man. I was going to look it up on Twitter, and I'm not going to remember how to spell the guy's name. He's a Twitch streamer. I think his name is Tonberry Blue, but I'm not sure how he spells his name or what his Twitter handle is. Where's the list that has... Yeah, Incorporeal Corporals. 2 times... Oh no, that doesn't have it. Undying Allies. Yeah, this is close. So there's several different versions of the list that are going around with a few cards difference. But this particular list is like significantly different than the list that I've been playing. So we're going to take a quick look at it here and see what the difference is. So this version of the list is running 2 copies Animate Dead, Shadowcloth Needle, which I've seen decks that run 2 copies of the Needle. And I've seen a list that runs 2 copies Whispers of the Deep. And then here's the Corporal. So imagine like turn 1 you coin Corporal, turn 2 you go Whispers. And even like Void Touched. That's like the dream draw, right? But you cast Whispers on the Corporal, 5 damage clears the board in the early turns, and then you have a 5/5 that you just get to attack with multiple times that doesn't die. But the reason why I don't like this version of the list is because literally the only target that you want to silence is the Corporal. So this is just a dead card unless you have exactly Corporal. And especially when you start running 2 copies. So this Tonberry Blue that I saw on Twitter was saying that it's so strong you can't not have it in your deck. And so he runs 2 copies of this Whispers of the Deep. And then he also runs the Najak Hexen. So that gives him an additional target. So you can like steal a minion from your opponent and then silence this. And you don't really get any board damage, it's only 1. But you've stolen the minion. So if you can get like a higher attack minion or even just swing the board just enough to be able to go face. And then outside of that, like I think the list is relatively the same. The other version of the list that I've seen is also running Bone Callers. Resurrect a friendly undead. So they're bringing back like, you know, zombies, nightmares, shadow spirits. So, but overall, I feel like this is more similar to an older version of the deck. And again, it's just not my personal preference, but it could be better. It could be better than what I'm doing here, which this is just like a swarmy version. You know, you got some turn 1 potential plays here, running foul legs, but it should play relatively the same. So still just not totally sure what's better though. Have you thought about using the Freezing Skeleton? Is that, which card do you mean? Are you talking about like the one that you see from Mage? Uh-oh. How many L's in Skeleton? Bro. Apparently there's only 1 L in Skeleton. I guess the second L, I'm just holding it right now on stream. Well, the good news about being a streamer that nobody knows is out here is that when you hold an L like I am right now, nobody actually sees it. But like the Volatile Skeleton? Yeah, I don't think it's good enough. In general, neutral cards just really aren't good and probably don't belong in your deck. The only times you really see neutral cards in deck is like Astalor, Sire Denathrius before he was nerfed, like stuff that's just obviously overpowered. But just based on the way Hearthstone is designed, class cards get like a little bit of an extra budget for a more powerful card. And so almost always you're going to be better off finding a class card versus a neutral card. Unless it's a very specific effect that you want, or in the rare case, which is really rare if you think about the history of Hearthstone, that the card is actually overpowered. But a 2/2 that deals 2 random damage isn't great. And then you also have to think about the deck building with like the, if you're going to be running the Animate Dead, you definitely don't want to bring this back to life. You know, there's better cards that you would want to bring back besides this. So for me, this card is a pass. That doesn't mean it's not good, but that's the reasoning that I would have behind not playing a card like this in Undead Priest. And typically, like, whenever I review new cards that are going to be coming out, you may have noticed I basically write off almost all of the neutral cards right off the bat. And I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. I mean, outside of Astalor, what's neutral cards that are actually seeing play? For a little while, the 3-mana Acolyte of the Dead saw play, I think, for a very small amount of time. Oh, have I misspelled it again? Maybe it's a Death Knight card. Okay, well, this is a Death Knight card, but again, you know, not good. And you could almost make an argument that this is a neutral card. 3-mana, 3/4. Draw a card if a friendly undead dies. Like, that's not great. That's not a super great class card. So it's almost like a neutral card. But there's just not a lot of neutrals that are actually seeing play. And it's because of how weak they are. That's just kind of my thinking. And I'm actually going to snag another break here. Run off to the restroom. Unfortunately, when I stream, I drink a lot of coffee and I drink a lot of water. And so that leads to issues. Let's see what Sneak Thief is up to here. And I will be back here in just a moment. Thank you for watching. I'll be right back. 1-2 minutes.
of everything. What have you sacrificed?
Alright. Apparently Sneak Thief is a donkey. Look at what he's playing. Jackpot. Still playing Wild Paw Knowles, and he's not playing the other card, right? No, he's not playing the Legendary. Come on, man. Killing me. Killing me. Making me look bad. I'm gonna have to start vetting people before I show one of their games when I'm streaming, because this is just making me look bad. Alright, let's queue it up. 4-4 Naga sees a lot of play. That's true, Martin. That's a really good point. The school teacher does see a lot of play, but it's also a really, really good card. It's one of the rare good neutrals, just because the effect it has is so strong. It's better in some classes than others. I think it's really good in Death Knight, just because it has so many strong discovers. Death Knight actually has the strongest discover pool of any class, in my opinion. I'm going to keep the Banshee. Again, if they just have to coin out a hero power, it's good for us. If they equip weapon, it's actually bad for us. Maybe we hold both of these for turn 2 to get them on the board at the same time so that one gets a buff. They didn't keep anything. No guarantee that it's a Frost Death Knight either. See what the top deck is and then make a decision. We hit an arms dealer. So we're going to play this, and then turn 2 is these guys. We're just going to have an empty hand here. But when you think about the Death Knight Discover pool, because it's capable, the class is capable of playing aggro, mid-range, and control, they can just take... As an aggro deck, they can take a blood card like Vampiric Blood to be able to heal, and stuff like that's insanely strong. So they end up winning games that no other class could potentially win. Just gonna play the Haunting Nightmare here. And of course we're making this trade, but I want to spend mana. Hopefully something survives so that we can discover an additional undead, because we're basically just out of cards.
Reach for the skies.
Actually, nothing survived here. We have to play this anyway, because we're probably going to want an active Shadow Word Undeath. And then it's also a little bit fortunate that the 4-3 landed on this guy. And then I think I just want to ping off. Is there any reason to ping off here? If he goes weapon, he could go bump, weapon, boom, boom. Still have a 3-1. But I mean, we have this for the potential clear. I'm going to go face. As long as the amalgam dies, this is active, but we're out of cards. And our opponent has cards and card draw, so we're just kind of behind. It's not looking good. That was a good play for us, though. I'm going to make this trade, and then we're going to clear our opponent's board. And we're kind of hoping that they don't have, like, Marrow Manipulator, because it clears the board and really does a number on us here.
Who here can spell?
Let's see, this could easily be removed by the Discover. It's removal, it's healing, it's... Yeah, see, I mean... It's insane what they can discover. And this isn't even good, right? The 4-3 is not undead. Just came a little bit late. It's not good at all. Plus, we're going to come into, like, being frozen by the Frostworm Furies. This is why I think Frost Death Knight is actually still fine, even though the location was nerfed. They don't even have location this game, and that's not why we're losing. We just haven't been able to get a foothold on the board. I'm I'm gonna do this. Do we ever ping off this? I mean, this and hero power removes our guy. If I soften that up, it doesn't even really do anything. Unless the top deck is like exactly Mindseer. I don't think we play for exact top decks. Just gonna hope they don't have anything. Playing this actually works against us and probably kills us faster here. Do you think DK nerf was enough? Location still strong despite the nerf? I don't think so. Well, it's definitely a nerf. That's a nice pickup for us. It was definitely a nerf, but I feel like Frost Death Knight is still perfectly fine even with the nerf. And for some reason, maybe people were tired of playing it, but Frost Death Knight should still be a really good deck in my opinion. We actually top deck exactly the Mindseer. But it's still fine. I'm going to make the play like this. And then get down Thessarian. But again, we've come to the point where if our opponent is hitting the Frostworm Furies, we just die. Maybe they get confused and kill the Thessarian twice. Yeah, see, that's the problem. This card should not be in Hearthstone. Frostworm Fury. I mean, we're just dead. It's not because of any kind of skilled play. Our opponent had 7 mana and they played a 7 mana card that actually just beats every single board deck in the game. So you can see no location, and they actually did just fine against another board-based aggro deck. So I think Frost DK is strong, not just because of the location, but because of the total package that that deck is able to bring. So yes, it's a nerf. It slows it down a little bit, but I mean, I already knew there were games that I would lose just like this one, where the opponent never drew the location, or didn't have the location on turn 3, so... And it looks like we're actually hitting a pocket of them. Discover's still very strong on Death Knight. Yeah, it's insane. With this deck, can you even beat Blood Death Knight? You can. Out of this 33 games, I've played against Blood Death Knight 3 times that I can remember, and I won twice. I'm going to keep an attendant. So what it all comes down to is, does the Blood Death Knight, do they draw like Blood Boil? Do they draw Corpse Explosion? And then can you kill them before they get into like Soul Stealers on turn 8? So you can definitely kill him, but it's a little bit draw dependent. I think I go Arms Dealer Banshee, and then next turn, I've got Attendant and Mindseer if needed. I like using the coin early in a lot of matchups because I want to try to take the board when I'm going second. It may not even be totally correct. Just gonna go ahead and play the 1-3 and go face here. This could actually be blood right now, but it's only the 30 card version, which makes it more likely that they draw the relevant removal. And you can see that it is. So I might actually just go ping Mindseer, and Mindseer actually hits for 4. Plus we have second Void Touched Attendant. So you can see this is Blood Death Knight. They have 16 health after turn 3.
Who here can spell Zinjari?
And I can actually do this again. I can go Attendant, Ping, Mindseer, and all this goes face. It's just so much damage. So this is probably a little bit of a high roll draw on our part, but our opponent's at 3. Blood Boil doesn't do anything, Corpse Explosion doesn't do anything, and potentially we have 5 damage for lethal next turn. Horn of Winter back to 4. Even this heal isn't enough. They need to remove something here. They need to remove a Void Touched Attendant, I think. Double Vampiric Blood is pretty good for him. So that's 5. This is still just lethal, right? I mean, we go for it. This is the play no matter what. And we take the undead.
I see the void.
Easy! So, the Blood DK raid boss, they play double Vampiric Blood. It was only a 30-card deck, but we dealt 50 damage to this deck in 5 turns. So, again, that was a high roll draw for us because we had both Void Touched Attendants, but even with just one Attendant, the damage starts to add up so fast. So, I think, again, this is just based on memory. I guess I could look at my stats a little bit, but I think I've played against Blood Death Knight 4 times. I think the other 3 were Renathal decks. And I think I'm actually 3 and 1 against them. Let's see. Priest. So overall against Death Knight, I'm 8 and 3. Need to look at match history. It's not going to show archetype. Alright, well I hit a dead end. We're going to have to go with my memory, but if it's any comfort to you, the old noggin is pretty good here. Do you think DK should only discover cards based on their runes? No. It's just really good. I mean, some class has to be the best. Has to have the best discover pool. It just lends a lot of flexibility to... It lends a lot of flexibility to the Death Knight class, but I feel like overall... Oof, man, if we were on the coin, I would keep this. Against Druid, too. I can't keep a 4-cost card with only 2 other cards going first. We need a better start than that. But High Cultist is a great way to be able to punish decks. Because they remove your undeads and then you bring them back. And a 3/5. But when it comes to Death Knight, it feels like runes, instead of being like a deck building advantage, as like the developers kind of introduced it when they were talking about the Death Knight class, it actually just restricts the class. And it makes a lot of the decks feel the same. Just because of how much it limits. This is actually aggro druid. That is crazy. So I'm going to do this. And then next turn we'll probably Undying Allies with the Haunting Nightmare. We're going to need Shadow Word Undeath though. I haven't played against aggro druid. Basically, if they're able to buff the minions they have on the board, we're going to have a really hard time. I almost wonder if we should ping something here. They have a kept card as well. But they've already used the coin. Man, that's a little bit tough. Could have gone Cathedral to buff this to remove a minion. I think I like this better, though. Next turn, I might have to ping. And then trade. I want to shut down the card draw, but I want to remove as many minions as I possibly can here. That's what it all comes down to. Because if they have minions on the board and then land a buff, especially if it's that the 4 mana buff that adds 3 health to the board, then even Shadow Word Undeath isn't enough. Oh, it hits the location, man. The worst card in hand. It's the absolute card that I did not want to land on. Imagine if it lands on the card draw here. Oh, still, imagine if it lands on card draw here, but this is fine. We're going to get the 4-3 plus a Discover off of this. These are all bad. Man, I don't want any of these cards. I guess I take the cheap one, but I don't even want to play it. And then we're just going to draw. Void Touched Attendant and another Amalgam. So again, I'm just thinking I want to remove cards that are on the board. And then the 2-2 is better than the 2-1, right? Even though this buffs. I'm going to take the 2-2 on the board. So here, they still haven't played... They haven't played a nature spell yet, but if they could go like 2-2 and then play the Herald of Nature to buff the board. Okay. Roots, trade. Looks like they're buffing this guy to try to help him survive. It's not going to work though. I'm probably playing a location here. Because it gives us the 4-3. This needs to die. So I'm going to play the location. We get our 4-3. We're going to buff this guy, and Mindseer is actually pretty good for us here. So I'm going to hit. I'm going to hit with this. And then I actually want to Mindseer the Trog, I guess. I don't know. It's probably better to get rid of the card draw and have the 2 Trogs. I think overall I just want less minions on the board though. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go at start dancing. Easy. So, you can see here, 35 games, 69% win rate. This deck is actually performing really, really well. GG, thank you very much. Was not bad at all. I wonder if that was frustration or if our opponent just didn't think they'd be able to win. They needed to be able to hit a wide board with buffs. But we hadn't drawn the Undeath yet, either. Could be a mirror match here.
Your path has brought you here.
Egg is not a keep. I really want a turn 1 play. Coin Haunting Nightmare feels pretty good, though. I almost don't want to keep this, but I'm keeping it anyway. Thanks, Kurt. And this with Undying Allies is pretty strong as well. It's actually not a mirror. It's not a mirror, and our opponent kept 3 cards, but didn't do anything. I'm going to play this one a little bit slower. I'm definitely using Undying Allies with a Haunting Nightmare. The issue is... this could be like Silence, like some form of Control Priest is going to be running the shards. I'm going to play the Mind Eater. If they have a Silence, this could be enough to actually bait it out. So it's either Savalna or Boon Priest. Which is bad. So I'm going to Undying Allies here, and then hopefully next turn, like even if the buff would happen to land on like Benedictus, I can coin it out. Because I mean, I push damage face, they can heal in Zarella. this death rattle goes off before this one. So if this guy dies, this buff, like if the whole board gets cleared, this buff doesn't land on anything. Another Savalna priest. Don't curse me like that, Cax. I don't think so. But it looks like it. So we need to keep our opponents under pressure as much as possible. So I'm just going to go Undying Allies and then play my hand here. Hopefully this is enough pressure. And I'm going to take the cheap card, I think. Hopefully we have enough pressure on the board that our opponent actually can't do anything. Still 2 kept cards. If it's Savalna Priest, maybe one of these is Savalna. Maybe one is Zarella. We do have 3 Reborn minions on the board. This helps us to be able to repopulate our board if they play the Zarella. I say all that to say I feel like we're in the driver's seat here. Like, whatever our opponent does, I'm not sure that it's going to be good enough. So we know they have a Desperate Prayer. They could go Desperate Prayer Zarella. But if they had it... Let's see. I think we definitely want to ping here. I almost feel like we need to discover while we can. Brittle Skin Zombie is good, so I'm going to go ahead and play that. So now if they clear the board, they're taking damage. They're taking an additional 6. We know they have Desperate Prayer, so they can go Desperate Prayer, Zarella. They can heal. Okay. So we're actually just a little bit off of lethal here. They go to 15, and we're only going to have 14. And I'm just going to go ahead and play everything out onto the board. Just because this will get us, like, something out of our opponent's hand. It's unlikely they have Second Silence. So they go Desperate Prayers, Zarella. They heal up, clear our board, but we have a 3/3 plus an additional card in hand.
The path is clear for the
And they just died.
You did your best.
That was a great emote. Who is this? I don't even know what hero I had. But that was great, man. You did your best. What was that? You did your best. Realistically, they had a 0 chance of being able to beat us. I think it's the Forge Fiend deck. I don't know. Is that... I'm not sure what all priest decks are out there. So the good news is we're still in a meta where people are experimenting and trying different things. Excuse me, trying different things, I guess. But we were able to put so much pressure on our opponent, they actually just couldn't do anything. But I don't even know if that was a bad draw from them. Like, they had 8, 9, 10 cards in hand at some point. They definitely never drew the Zarella. So I don't know. Thanks, Kurt. Egg is not a keep. Location is not a keep. I don't even think I'm keeping the Haunting Nightmare. Like, we need something to do on turn 1, turn 2. So I can't justify keeping the 3-drop if I don't have something to do before that. Come on, Hearthstone. Hearthstone, you owe me. That's not what I was hoping for, but I'll take it because it's something to do. Hearthstone has done me dirty so much. Look at this. Curse of Agony. I saw this deck on Twitter. Get in there, Banshee. I saw this deck on Twitter. I think it runs Curses. It runs the other curses as well as Curse of Agony. So they're going to have like Abyssal Wave at some point. Yeah, there's that curse. I think I'm just going face here. And I'm even going to Undying Allies with the Shadowed Spirit. We're just going to curve out next turn this into this if we need to clear the board. They've already used the coin. We just need to kill them as fast as possible. I'm ignoring the board. We're going total face this game. Face is the place. We don't want to get caught up making bad trades. Look, they're confused. They don't know what to do. Opponent confused. Donkey. What are they doing? Grim Sacrifice. And see, because this was on the board first, the Death Rattle goes off first, so the 3/3 spawns, and then the buff landed on this guy. So we're gonna have two 5/4s on the board, and we're taking the Amalgam because we want the 5 damage face. Opponent at 12, and we actually have a lethal setup for next turn. Unlikely that both of these survive. They have the 3 mana spell that deals 4. Drain Soul. They're alive by 1. Let's see if we can discover something here. I guess it's just the stealth. I mean, I can drop this next turn. And they can't interact with it, so it's like a guaranteed 5 damage. Set our opponent to 1. I mean, it should just be a win here. Totally destroying them.
Who here can spell Zinjari? Anybody?
No 3 mana or less spell is going to save them from dying. It's just to concede. They're just having a hard time. Really having a hard time coming to grips with the fact that they lost here. And there they go. So you can see, like, I played... What have we played today? We played... Well, Guff Druid, because that's what I named the stream after. I really thought that... Not Guff Druid. Oof, man. The OTK Druid. Every Druid is Guff Druid. But we played OTK Druid and didn't perform well. I think I had a losing record with that. I played the Pure Paladin deck, which I think I rotated off of really quickly today. Let's see. I was 1-1 with the Pure Paladin, but it was like a slower... It wasn't aggro, it was more mid-range / control. The Druid deck... For today, let's see, I gotta change stats to today. So with the Undead Priest, we're 7-3 today, so 70%, which is also our overall win rate. Quest Druid was actually 4-6, so it wasn't as bad as I thought, but still 40%. But I thought we lost a lot more than just 2 games versus our wins. And... see, what else did we play today? Pure Paladin was 1-1, 7-3. Oh. Well, this is nowhere near as bad as I thought it was. So we're 12-10. But so, I mean, this is a good point, you know. I've talked a couple of times about I only had the 10x bonus. And talking about, you know, people that are running into challenges of getting to Legend, it just takes games and it takes so much time. I'm 12-10 today, so I've gained 2 stars. I've been playing for like 3 hours, almost 3.5, and I gained 2 stars. And 12-10 comes out to a 55% win rate. 22 games, 55% win rate, and I only gained 2 stars. So this is what I talk about when I say, you know, if you're Diamond 5, you're perfectly capable of getting the legend. The only question is, do you have enough time? Because I know, people are busy. I know I'm busy. Don't necessarily want to sit around playing Hearthstone all the time either. So do you have the time and the willpower to put in enough games to be able to get the legends? Because that's what it comes down to. If you only have the 10-star bonus, this is what it looks like. And potentially I get all the way up to like Diamond 1 and then go on a losing streak back to Diamond 3 or Diamond 5. So it just gets, potentially, it can be really tough to get there. And then overall, so for me, for the season, I am 40-27. So I've only played 67 games in the first 5 days of the season. 60% win rate, which is significantly higher than what you would ever expect. Like, you can't realistically expect a 60% win rate over a long sample size of games in Hearthstone. And I'm only at Diamond 4. It's just a grind, is all it comes down to. When you're only getting 1 star at a time, it's just a grind. And that's the way it is. So if you're struggling to get the legend, or even, like, take legend out of the equation, if you're struggling to hit, like, gold 5, platinum 1, or even silver 1, whatever the case may be, if you're only getting 1 star at a time, you're just going to have to play a lot of games. So set your goal. Understand that you're going to lose. Understand that the most skilled player does not always win in Hearthstone or in trading card games in general. There's matchups. Certain matchups are just really bad. And then there's draw luck. I mean, luck is just a part of trading card games. The order you draw your cards, what your opponent plays, the order they draw their cards. So keep those things in mind. Set your goal. If you don't get it, keep in mind that certain things are out of your control. So maybe the better goal is, okay, I'm going to play 10 games today. And then you just play your 10 games and don't worry about your win rate. Like, you're going to get there, but it's just play games. But don't set the goal of, okay, I started the day Diamond 4, I'm going to get to Diamond 2. Play the best you can, but understand that that's not totally within your control. So the better goal is, I'm going to play X amount of games, probably based on how much time you have. If you only have an hour, okay, I'm going to play 5 games. If you like playing control decks and you only have an hour, okay, I'm going to play 3 games. But if you win 2 of those games, that's a 67% win rate. So it's not unbelievable that you would only win, 1 out of 3. Another reason why I really, really like decks that play faster, which is aggro decks. I know some people don't like aggro decks, but like this priest, let me go back to my stats here so I'm not talking crazy. Constructed. So this priest deck, average game time, 5.5 minutes. So I can realistically play, I mean, you got to think about search time too, but realistically, I should be able to play 10 games an hour with this deck. On average, 9 to 10 games an hour, versus if you're only playing 4 or 5 games because you're playing decks that just have a longer average play time, that adds up because, time is a resource that, it's not infinite. So if you're trying to get better ranks, you need to be playing a tier 1 deck, tier 2 at the worst. You have to be playing a good deck, and then just play as many games as you can to be able to try to make progress. All right, I think that is actually going to wrap it up for the stream. That's about 3.5 hours. That's a lot of hours for an old man like me. Thank you so much for coming by and spending time with me. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully you found something here that you can take some value from. I am going to throw the deck code for this priest in the chat one more time. This is my preferred version. There are other versions of Undead Priest. 7-3 with it today for a 70% win rate. It was the best performing deck of the day by far. And overall, I think I still have a 26% win rate. 26, oh my gosh. Overall, I still have a 70% win rate with a record of like 26-11, I think is what it is. Yep, 26-11, 70% win rate. Undead Priest, really good. Don't be afraid to experiment. There are a few different lists out there. This is just what I'm playing. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Uncorrupt. Good luck. And now this is the awkward part of the stream where I'm trying to end stream. And you guys are maybe still here watching.